Okay. It's I guess close enough to 7, according to my uh, computer. We are at 7. So let's call this meeting to order. Roll call vote, please. Or
Manning,
Here.
Osmello,
Present.
Hader,
Here.
Larson,
here.
Schneider,
Here.
Ramirez,
Here.
Gallagher.
Here.
Okay, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. We have Scout Troop 924 here to lead.
Please place your right hand on your heart for the Pledge of Allegiance or for your salute. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Good job.
Okay, thank you, Troop 924. Now we go to the invocation. Today we have Pastor Mark Brady from Park Valley Church. Welcome.
Once again, I just count this an honor and privilege to be here. And I can't say enough. I love you guys. I'm thankful for you. And thank you for making our town amazing. Thank you for partnering with our church and making our town amazing. And I got to turn it on. Wow.
There you go.
There we go. Well, they know I love them. So, I was thinking about you guys this morning when I was doing my devotions, and I just love being a part of this community. And our church loves being part of this community. And we just thank you for your sacrifice of your time away from your families and your endeavors in the workplace. But because of your sacrifice, we all benefit. And I'm thankful for that. When I was doing my quiet time today, there's this incredible verse in Galatians. It says, but the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in our lives. And I know everyone wants to be fruitful, we all want to be blessed. But when we follow God, he says he fills our lives with love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Those are amazing attributes. And I see that integrity in all of you. And the new staff that's going to be coming on the new board for 2025, we'll be praying for them also. And I just want to thank you once again for your sacrifice. So let's pray. God, we thank you for your amazing love. Once again, we are so thankful to live in the greatest country in the world, Lord, that you have blessed us. Lord, I thank you for the wisdom that you've given everyone here on the town council, Lord, that you continue to use them in amazing ways. And I just pray a blessing upon all their families because they work hard to pour into our community. So what you sow, you reap. So I pray for great reaping for all of them. And Lord, that you would just protect us and let us celebrate Christmas and not lose focus on the meaning of Christmas. And I pray today that, what is said from the podium to the board, Lord, that you would give them discernment and make the best possible choices because of the wisdom that you provided for them. And so, God, we love you. I thank you for this amazing community, and we just give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next on our list is the oath for the office for the newly elected. We got clerk here.
I'm here.
All right.
Yes.
Mayor-elect.
Yes.
Mayor-elect.
Mayor-elect, please step forward.
Do I go down there?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And she would like Sandy to be there with her.
Oh, she's got the button.
Where do I stand?
Just next to her. We'll flip this around. I'm sorry.
Face the camera.
You're fine. Right up here with her. Okay. And you'll put your left hand on the Bible.
Yeah, there, hold on.
and raise your right hand
Hold on, Scott.
and repeat after me. I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States
to support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and to faithfully and impartially
to faithfully and impartially
discharge all the duties
discharge all the duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as the mayor of the town of Haymarket
as the mayor of the town of Haymarket
to the best of my
to the
abilities.
best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jackie, we're gonna have some family members, so some of the council members would like their family members to join them, so family members. For the rest of the council, if you come up, stand behind your council family member. Okay, council, and then family members behind them.
All together?
All of this?
All at once.
together, right? You wanna do them all together?
Do I
Just
get
like
one?
the
Do it
Beatles.
however you want.
However you wanna
Just
do
like
it.
the Beatles. All together. All together.
Do I get one or do I have to sit?
You get to sit.
Oh, I get to sit.
You've already been
Okay,
sworn
fine,
in.
I'll sit.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's only up here.
Come on.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I would love it. I would love it. That's
Do you
everybody?
want to stand beside, Mr. Casanel, because he'd like to be sworn in with the Bible?
Sure.
Somebody with him, Justin, and your family. And Justin.
Yeah, and you'll get cheap with option.
Come on this side.
We'll go over that.
Whoever you want to hold the Bible for you.
All right, so if you're using the Bible, you put your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand and repeat after me. Oh, you don't have to, honey. I solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States
to support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia,
and to faithfully and impartially
to faithfully and impartially
discharge all the duties
discharge all of the duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as a member of the Town Council
as a member of the Town Council
for the Town of Haymarket
for the Town of
to
Haymarket
the best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations and thank you.
Still at it. Congratulations. Hey, I got somebody forgot. Oh, please. Your passport. I always like having you.
Well, it's official.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
I was gonna say congratulations.
Oh, I'm gonna go over and get everybody.
Congratulations.
Very exciting.
Congrats there, council member.
Congrats.
Yeah. It's right there, buddy. You're not swapping seats yet.
No, 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 no.
Not yet.
Not yet. We still got you, Ken, for a little while.
Now where'd I put my list? I guess I'll go with this. Go. Okay, next on the list. Tonight, the town would like to say thank you to a man who has spent countless hours serving his community. Marchant has been present at town council meetings, ready to discuss a variety of topics, and always puts the people of Haymarket first. The years of hard work, dedication, and passion for the prosperity of the town did not go unnoticed. Before being elected as a town council in 2020, Marchant served on the Architectural Review Board, working at preserving the historic character of Haymarket. When he was elected to town council, he continued the responsibility as liaison to the Architectural Review Board, where he served as the chairman. His love for community and those on Longstreet Commons also showed during his involvement at Haymarket Day, taking the responsibility, working side by side with the scout troop, doing a job that no one likes, collecting the trash. And you could always see the little boy come out in Marchant with the end of the school year water balloon fight on Longstreet Commons. This kind of passion is something all public officials should strive to emulate. The town would also like to thank Marchant's wife, Jean. Jean, are you out there?
Her daughters are going to be here to represent her.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing your husband with the town through all the late night meetings and all town events. Both of you have made a sacrifice for the betterment of the town, and the town has been lucky to have you. Please accept this small token and the appreciation and gratitude. We wish you both luck and much success with the next season of your life.
Yeah, you come down with Marchant.
Come on up.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. It's an incredible honor to stand before you tonight. This is a meaningful moment not only for me, but for all of us as we look ahead to the future of Haymarket. I would like to take a moment to recognize the service of our mayor, Ken Larson. Ken has dedicated many years to this community by representing as chair of the ARB and twice elected mayor. His commitment to Haymarket is something we can all appreciate. Under his leadership, our town made important strides, and we are grateful for the work he has done to help shape the town we live in today. The foundation Ken helped build with serve as a springboard for the next chapter. Never one to shy away from controversy, Ken uses logic, reason, and facts in determining his position and course of action. Unassuming and self-effacing, Ken leads by example and expects others to do the same. His goal has always been the best possible outcome for residents and stakeholders, and that we all flourish and grow. His accomplishments include promoting strategic thinking with respect to assets and inventory in the town, as well as guiding self-development. Improved transparency and openness in government fortuitiveness and actions, improved communication initiatives with all stakeholders, residents, businesses, visitors, and staff, showing insight to establishing the mayor's walk and talk with the mayor at the farmer's market. Welcomed new initiatives and oversaw staff expansion, both police department and town staff. You advocate for the continued development of the town park, including public safety measures. For these things over the past 4.5 years, and for representing the town with distinction, we thank you, Mayor Ken Larson, for his sacrifice and devotion, making Haymarket everyone's hometown.
Thank you. I'm not stepping down there. You haven't lost me yet. I'm coming back as councilman, so thank you. Okay, now since that interruption is done, we can move on. The official lighting for the Christmas tree is usually happens at our holiday celebration, but we prefer not to have a dark corner for the next 2 weeks. So we're going to run out there, do a quick dedication, and light the tree. If you guys want to come out and watch. Okay. Just a announcement for everyone in the audience. There are light refreshments since we are going through a big schedule here with recognitions and Christmas lighting and everything. There's some donuts back there, or donut holes from one of our local establishments, Duck Donuts, and some coffee. If you guys want to help yourself, it's between the trees back there. Okay, now we'll start this meeting up again. Next on the list is the Haymarket Day recap and recognitions. Try not to crowd your space there. I'm sprawling here.
Alrighty, good evening, everyone. We're going to start off with our Haymarket Day recap. Haymarket Day went great this year. We received positive feedback from everybody that came and from vendors. I want to thank council for helping volunteer. Thank you, Marchant, for setting up all the volunteers for the day. We couldn't have done it without you guys. But it wouldn't have been possible without some of our amazing sponsors that we'd like to recognize today. I'd like to start off with Park Valley. If Pastor Mark Brady and TJ want to come up here. Every year, Park Valley helps us out with all 5 of our community events. They bring the kids zone, they have the moon bounces, the play area. I mean, it wouldn't be as great as it is without Park Valley. They come with the best group of volunteers. They're always happy to be here, happy to help with anything. And we appreciate everything the church does for us. We look forward to many more years, hopefully, of a partnership with them. Yeah, so we'd like to present them with their check. We want to take a picture with all of council. That would be great. So thank you guys. Thank you. Yeah, we'll go up here and take a.
Yep. We all get back down.
I wore heels, so.
Hey, ready? Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Everybody remember your spot on next time. Yeah, very good.
I apologize in advance. You're going to be getting up and getting down, taking lots of pictures. Yeah, maybe. Alrighty, while she's changing that donation check over there, we'd like to recognize our second group, Troop 924. If they want to come stand up here too, we would like to give them a very, very, very big thank you for everything they do at Haymarket Day. These young ladies and men probably do the hardest job at Haymarket Day, which is changing all of the trash cans throughout the day. They're like the last ones there, changing all the trash cans. We really could not do Haymarket Day without you guys, and we thank you so much. So yeah, if we want to, am I going too fast for you, Alex?
Again?
No, up again.
Look at that, perfect.
You want me in the center?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, student scouts, pretend you're not gonna.
Scooch in, scouts. Scoot together. Keep scooching.
Guys, double layers. There you go. Perfect. Okay, everybody ready?
This camera really. All of them. Hold that. My shot blinked. Hold on. I think that's the parents. You guys go up where you can get a good shot.
Oh, we did.
We're pros.
Perfect. Awesome.
Just one more?
One more.
just stand there?
One more time.
One more, man.
Think so.
I'm just like, I'm not even sitting there.
You waiting for your train?
Okay. And then last but certainly not least, we have Wakefield here tonight, if you guys want to come up here as well. For the past couple of years, Wakefield has provided the buses for our shuttle bus at Haymarket Day, transporting people to the event. And they provide the best service. I mean, these bus drivers, they won't even stop for a lunch break, even if we ask them to. They're going all day long, the whole entire time. So we thank them so much. We thank you guys so much. You've been great to work with. And we look forward to partnering with you guys in the future as well. So, oh, look at you go, Alex. You're fast. There we go. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you guys. Sorry.
I think that's
Now we have our parade winners. So we're going to take 3 more pictures. Or we can do one big group one so you guys don't have to get up. One big group one's good. Okay, so all 3 of these winners, they went all out for Haymarket Day, the parade this year. They made their floats awesome. So yeah, we'll start off with first place, Studio B. Is anyone from Studio B here? Yes. Go, and we'll grab a group picture too in just a second. All right, we got second place, Gainesville Pediatric Dentistry. And then third place, we have Gainesville Dance Center. All right. Then we'll hop up there with you guys in council and we'll take a picture.
The exercise
I
today.
know, right?
This is fast now. Yeah, I know. You're good at it. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming. All right. Okay. Alrighty, so next up we have our farmers market recap. We wrapped up the farmers market season on November 10th. It was a great season. We had a total of 47 vendors. Some of those were part-time, some of those were full-time, and then we also had 18 drop-in vendors this season. At the end of the season, I sent out a survey to all the vendors just to get their feedback on how we can improve next year and make some changes. So these are just the results from the survey. We'll just go over them. If you have any questions at the end, feel free to ask. All right. So we had 21 of the 47 actually complete the survey. 9 of those were full-time, 8 were part-time, and 4 were drop-in. So we had a little bit of everybody participating in it. 100% of these vendors plan to return in 2025, and 50% of them were returning vendors from previous years. The schedule was a little bit different this year compared to previous years. It started a week later than usual and ended a week earlier. So it was a little bit shorter this year. So I asked all the vendors if they liked the schedule, if they wanted more weekends. 19 of them liked the schedule how it was. 2 vendors would like a few more weekends added. Live music was a new thing we did this year. Every single weekend we had live music at the farmers. A wide variety of feedback on this. So I wanted to see what the vendors thought about it. 12 vendors loved it. 2 said they prefer it without. And then there was about 7 additional comments. Some didn't even know we had live music. Some thought it was too loud, some thought it was too quiet. So just the volume levels, location, and prefer the acoustic vibe at the farmers market. And then we also canceled 3 of our farmers market this year. The Sunday after the 4th of July, the Sunday after summer concert, and then the Sunday after Haymarket Day. We also, throughout the season, received some feedback from vendors and people not liking that we had those 3 canceled. So I asked, and 18 of them said they enjoyed the break. 2 of them said they wish there were markets on those days, and then 3 of them said that they didn't care whether we had it or whether we didn't. So I thought that was quite interesting. And then the vendor fee, we asked if they would support a price increase if it meant having more theme days, like our Halloween farmers market, Mother's Day, Father's Day. 7 said they do not want an increase. 9 of them said they'd be fine if it was $25 or less. 3 said they would be okay if it was $50 or less. And then 1 said $75 or less. And then some additional comments I got were to continue to increase the advertising throughout the week, more breakfast vendors, extending the market to 2 p.m. because after church lets out, you see it pick up a little bit. And then somebody wanted a year-round market. They think we have the market for it and they want to do it year-round. So yeah, that's it. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer anything.
Any questions or comment from the dais?
No?
No, thank you for the details.
I was just going to say, I have one little added live music
Mhm.
variety,
Mhm.
possibly.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Yeah. Oh, yes, 100%. 100%. Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Julia.
Julia.
All right.
They can. Okay, now we're going to open up the public hearing for SUP 2024-001, the Chick-fil-A drive-through expansion.
Great. Good evening, council. This is Thomas, town planner. I'm going to give a brief.
Hold on, we'll get the public notice reading first,
Sorry.
and then we'll go with the details.
Notice is hereby given that the town council of the town of Haymarket will hold a public hearing on Monday, December 2nd, 2024 at 7 p.m. in the Haymarket Town Hall located at 15000 Washington Street, Suite 100 in Haymarket, Virginia, to consider a special use permit application for a second drive-through expansion for Chick-fil-A located at 15180 Washington Street. The special use permit application materials are available on the town's website and at the town hall located at 15000 Washington Street between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. All meetings are open to the public. The town of Haymarket does not discriminate on the basis of disability in admission nor access to its programs and activities. The location of this public hearing is believed to be accessible to persons with disabilities. Any persons with questions on the accessibility should contact the town clerk at the above address.
Okay, now we'll go on to the staff report.
Good. Thank you, council. To introduce the application for special use permit application 2024-001 Chick-fil-A drive-through expansion, I wanted to first bring up the history of the existing drive-through. The existing drive-through was installed and approved in 2015 via another special use permit. The goal of this expansion is to add a bypass lane to the existing drive-through. Currently, the lanes are 2 lanes, and then they've funneled down into 1 lane at the pickup window. The goal is to extend the bypass lane past the pickup window and then have it converge after the pickup window to facilitate for faster order taking and giving. The goal in the short term is to provide an express for customers with the long-term goal to be mobile through ordering for customers at Chick-fil-A. The proposed expansion of the lane would require the landscaping buffer that's existing right now to be taken out. It would be replaced with delineators. Options given by the applicants are the cycling lane delineators just a few inches high that would provide a little bump between the Virginia National Bank parking lot and the proposed drive-through expansion, as well as upright delineators like the ones you see on hot lanes on Interstate 66. With that expansion as well, the dimensions of the Virginia National Bank aisle or the space for cars to drive through would be reduced to about 21 feet at the worst with the delineator expansion. The current traffic at Virginia National Bank, the adjacent property to Chick-fil-A drive-through, it's currently a two-way throughway. It would be reduced to counterclockwise one-way throughway to provide that extra space for the additional express lane. One other site improvement on this application is to expand the curbed island at the north side of the lot. Currently at the northeast corner, there is an entry-exit point onto Crossroads Village Boulevard. The proposal or the application asks that that be reduced to just an exit point. Additionally, the landscaping that would be taken out will be replaced on the expanded curbed island and the additional section that's expanded on at the very end of the drive-through pickup point. On page 6 of the packet page for this agenda are the matters to consider with this application, taken from section 58-4.28 of the zoning ordinance. As long as the application meets the ordinance, these are the next steps for review and that we base our decision off of. I've provided this for you in the agenda. The nature of the proposed use, including factors such as traffic, noise, light, hours of operation, and number of employees involved. That's the first matter within section 58-4.28 of the zoning ordinance. The applicant has provided a traffic impact analysis that you will find on pages 19 through 22 of your packet, proposing or predicting net zero increase in traffic from this expansion. They've stated that the hours of operation will not change with this expansion as well. The applicant's also provided on packet page 23 a number of wayfinding options on site to help facilitate any of the new any customers that come in to help them guide them through the new traffic layout. With that in mind, Virginia National Bank's lot will be significantly affected by that change. Even with the expanded wayfinding, it will still be a big adjustment for that business as well as any customers that will be driving through the site. The next item, character of the existing area, including existing structures and structures under construction, existing public facilities, and public facilities under construction, and private, commercial, and/or service facilities available within the existing area. The removal of the landscaping buffer may cause, with the expansion itself, again, undue request for Virginia National Bank to have to adjust their site. Along with that, if there's not a hardscape installed, there could be some potential safety issues associated with the site as well. If cars from the parking lot of Virginia National Bank or cars within the drive-through space may back in and out, there could be potential for accidents if there's not a hardscape curb there. Additionally, item 3, the area's designation on the town's comprehensive plan and relevant text provisions of the plan. I have that in writing for your consideration in this report. With the increase in vehicle traffic, it promotes further reliance of vehicle trips in the area. If the goal is in the comprehensive plan to provide a more walkable part of town, as difficult as that is at this section of town, even with the existing layout, it's very unfriendly to pedestrians. Any modification to may exacerbate that issue as well. Item number 4, minimum off-street parking area required and the amount of space needed for the loading and unloading of trucks. This one's very brief. The exit point in the northeast corner, I've noticed a lot of the drop-off points happen at that dumpster enclosure right by the entry-exit point. If that curbed island is expanded, there may be potential issues with customers exiting that site if the drop-off point is still there. The applicant will need to consider to provide an addition or a separate drop-off location aside from the existing one. Along with other factors, as referenced in the above sections, in summation, the proposed drive-through may have the following negative effects on the site and surrounding area: an increase of traffic, decrease in driver access to the site and to adjacent businesses, inconsistent safety hazards associated with the drive-through design, potential detrimental effects of the operation of adjacent businesses, and inconsistency with the standards set forth for this section of the town in the Haymarket Comprehensive Plan. A public hearing was held for this application in July 15th, 2024. The commission eventually voted on this application in September 10th of 2024. General discussion in the planning commission meeting was as follows. There was a lot of discussion about how the expansion would affect Virginia National Bank's lot, what the new system would look like on the existing site, and how that would be changed via the proposal, as well as what other parking, landscaping, site improvements would need to be made in general that both Chick-fil-A and the bank would have to make in order to make this happen. With that in mind, I'm going to read out the minutes from this September Planning Commission meeting. With no further discussion, Chairman Bayene moved to recommend denial of special use permit application number 2024-001 for the following reasons. The proposed drive-through expansion will have the following negative effects on the site and surrounding area. Will result in increase of vehicular traffic or trips per day as a result of increasing the capacity and the eventual dedication of one of the drive-through lanes for mobile order pickup. Increase in potential safety hazards to pedestrians and employees as a result of the drive-through design and increase in vehicular traffic. Decrease in driver access to the site and adjacent businesses, and negative effects to the operation of the adjacent businesses. Commissioner Young seconded the motion, and the commission voted unanimously in recommendation of denial of the application. Additionally, I wanted to bring up email correspondence between Chick-fil-A and town manager and zoning administrator Emily Karazi, who's now currently on maternity leave. I'm standing by my staff's evaluation of the SCP application and the recommendation of denial based on the Chick-fil-A site restraints and the overall development. The town of Haymarket staff does not recommend the approval of the expansion. As we have worked to evaluate the plan submitted and the additional information provided, we find the following factors remain. The current site has significant site constraints that do not allow for the improvement entirely on your property, thus the need to expand to the neighboring property. The expansion into a neighboring property and redesign of their site creates an undue hardship on the neighboring property. Based on the current functions of the business, we do not find that the expansion is fully warranted, especially in consideration of needing to modify the neighboring property and the direct impact to the immediate development. The proposed barriers between the properties have been a topic of discussion with the Planning Commission. They will continue that discussion in town council meeting. However, staff is in favor of a hardscape versus the delineators provided. With that in mind, my recommendation is still to the council of denial of SCP number 2024-001. I'd like to turn the time over to representatives of the application for any comment they may have. Representatives include Chad Baker from Chick-fil-A, Christina Hughes of Bowler Engineering, Andrew Eitler of JLL, and Don Wooden, the landlord of both properties.
Thank you, guys. Hi, Christina Hughes. I'm with Bowler, civil engineer for the project. Just a quick introduction. I think everybody at this point has seen the application or heard about it. So just a quick rundown, obviously, of what we'd like to do. Just proposing the continuation of the second lane for a bypass to increase some efficiency in the drive-through lane. There is no other impact to the building and no increase in traffic generated based off the studies. And we'll go into that a little bit further. The traffic engineer is here tonight. I think generally also we'd really like to highlight the fact that while the application does propose some adjustments to the adjacent bank parcel, we do believe that Chick-fil-A really is being proactive and making some adjustments to the site. I work for Chick-fil-A on their custom project solution side, their reinvestment side, and their new store side. And all three parts of the corporation right now are working towards stores that have 2 lanes all the way through. There's many in the area. I've worked in the last 5 years. Just as recent as 2 weeks ago, the one in the town of Warrenton just reopened with the second lane all the way through now. The town of Culpeper in the last couple years, Signal Hill and Manassas, the city of Fredericksburg, the list goes on and on. This is pretty standard now. And again, they're really being proactive. So while, Thomas has highlighted that based on Emily's observation, there don't seem to be any issues with operations as they are. It doesn't mean it's as efficient as it could be or as efficient as the business model would really like it to be. So ideally we're proactively solving a problem that may not exist at this time, but that way we don't have to be reactive in the future when issues do arise and then, you're in a crunch to fix it. So the other thing we'd really like to highlight is this application does what we think reduce 3 potential conflict points with traffic. So the bank traffic, as we mentioned, would be going from 2-way to a 1-way adjacent to the drive-through lane, but it would be going opposite of the drive-through traffic. So now those exiting the bank would be funneled going north, and they would not have to be at the same stop in alignment with the drive-through traffic leaving. So there would be less of a concern of those leaving the bank going left, potentially, while somebody leaving the drive-through is going right. Additionally, as mentioned, the current exit for that shared access to the north with the rest of the shopping center is currently a 2-way. And the intent also behind that 1-way is, again, based on experiences in different locations, there's always the potential for, that drive-through to back up, which is not ideal. And again, hopefully this application allows that to not occur. But if it did, the traffic now would not be able to back up into, any shared drive aisle. It would be restricted to be contained within the Chick-fil-A site, which is obviously ideal, not inhibiting the traffic through any other adjacent property. And then lastly, there is also a part of the overall package or application. Chick-fil-A has also worked with the landlord on the overall to place several additional wayfinding signs to help clear up some traffic concerns based off of the entrance on Washington Street being, the only full access right there. I know there are some concerns with traffic there, and ideally the wayfinding signage would allow people to funnel out to the right intersection to get going in the right direction that they're looking for, and potentially not even have to use that, full access that I believe is experiencing a bit of congestion. So again, I don't want to reiterate everything that he said, but we do want to highlight some of the ways we believe are being proactive in addressing, some concerns we may see on very similar sites. And then our traffic engineer is here tonight, wasn't here for any of the planning commissions, but just to provide additional information on the traffic.
Good evening. I'm Les Adkins. I'm a registered traffic engineer with Galloway and Company based in Manassas, Virginia. I came tonight at the request of Chick-fil-A to help respond to some of the concerns about traffic associated with this application. I work alongside Christina in a lot of redevelopment and new Chick-fil-A stores in the region. And we base our assessments, which I produced the traffic study in your doc or packet tonight. We base our assessments off a data set that Chick-fil-A maintains across the country, and specifically in this region, of different store types, store sizes, drive-through alignments. And based off of that, the addition of the bypass lane here, in my professional opinion, would not increase trip generation. This is an exercise to improve efficiency of the existing store. As Christina stated, the store is not increasing in size and the hours of operations are not changing. So we anticipate this will help serve the existing customer base and improve efficiency for the future, as previously noted. And just wanted to reiterate the benefits of the circulation and lane restripings at the corners of the site, which will reduce conflict points and improve the safety of the site. I'll be available for any questions. I was going to introduce Don Wooden, the landlord for the site.
Thank you. Good to see all of you.
Welcome.
Yes, I'm Don Wooden with Meldon Group. So I'm the owner of the site that we're talking about tonight. We also own the Virginia Bank site as well next door. So where should I start? I think Mellon Group takes a lot of pride in working with our tenants. And I think you can see that's representative of all of the tenants that we brought into the town of Haymarket. I've had, I think, fairly good comments from everybody that, hey, way to go. We got some great new businesses that have come into the town. And so we hope that that's the case with you folks. In terms of the application, we work with both tenants, Virginia National Bank as well as Chick-fil-A, to make sure that the impacts that would occur here would not truly impact the daily operations of the tenants, but only improve them. So we've got communications back and forth with Virginia National Bank with different options that they would have at their disposal. One of the things that wasn't mentioned tonight, actually, we have 3 different options before you that we can provide. Any of those 3 options work for both Chick-fil-A as well as the bank. And then you, at your discretion, can choose which one of those council would deem most appropriate. So if you'd like to have those, she has them here that she can distribute those and give you some. Would you guys like to have those?
Yeah.
I would,
Yes.
yes.
So she'll come up there and give you those. There's 3 different options that we presented to both Chick-fil-A and as well as Virginia National Bank.
Did the planning commission see these as well, Don?
Different iterations, correct? Yeah, at different times, different iterations. We discussed those with the planning commission, but not all 3 of them at the same time. So.
The first exhibit you'll see matches the plan. The second shows the curved island, which is the physical barrier that you mentioned, and perpendicular parking. And 3 is also the curved island with angled parking along the bay.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, you haven't seen these?
Yes, for staff.
Only this one, isn't it? I think only this one, isn't it?
So in those 3, we looked at various options to try to address staff comments. I think we met with staff on 2 or 3 occasions to discuss the viability of the various options, looking at, wayfinding, looking at different angles of parking, different ways to create barriers between the drive-through lane and drive aisles. And so, that's the culmination of those things. You can virtually, almost like a buffet, you can pick and choose from those based on what you feel is best and what you see as best for the town. I will state that in discussion with Virginia National Bank, because that name has been brought up a few times, that they've talked about it creating conflicts and hardship. In talking with the bank, they chose, they said the option with the one-way traffic is preferred option. So the one that is showing the single drive-through aisle, not changing the parking or the sidewalks. That was their preferred out of the ones that were discussed with them.
So would that be option 1 on this then?
That would be option 1.
And just to clarify, were they offered all 3 of these options, or was there a different kind of conversation?
No, we were talking to them about all 3 of those. We started with a different option, which I think was, it was keeping 2 lanes of traffic and then reducing the curb at their building and bringing the parking up. Yeah.
Would their overall preference be to not change anything?
Would their overall preference be? I suspect their overall preference possibly would be, but because we own and control the sites,
Okay.
We were discussing with them what options would be best for them. And so we want to make both parties happy. Our idea is to make sure that they're both satisfied with the outcome. And we have correspondence, by the way, if you like a copy, showing what the bank's response was and comments were. So.
Did you by chance bring a representative from the bank to speak to their part?
No, but I've got the correspondence with their titles and names, if you'd like a copy.
Okay,
It's what we discussed with them.
thank you.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Mayor, before public comment, are we okay to ask questions? Not discuss, but just ask questions?
Apologies.
No, I should have asked you. Or should we
Um,
wait till it comes up on the agenda?
I think this discussion should actually come up on the agenda.
Okay.
If you do have some comments about materials, this is a good time. So you're correct with what you did.
Okay. Can I have some specific questions?
Um, What was your question?
No, I'm just gonna, I guess for your engineer too. So the queuing length, so was there a traffic impact analysis or just a trip generation study that was done?
The former, trip generation study.
Okay, but not a traffic impact analysis of the existing traffic conditions?
Correct.
Okay.
Our assessment that-
Gotcha. Okay. And the queuing length, how many additional, how many cars can fit in the queuing length that you're adding?
It was 19
19?
when we approved it in 2015.
Okay, so assume about double the number of,
I don't know.
okay. Does anybody know the number of,
No, it wouldn't be double, because there's already 2 lanes existing through
Okay.
to the order point before they merge. So
Okay.
we say approximately 20 feet per vehicle. So I believe it's actually adding additional stacks for 5 to 6 between the order point and the pickup. But as we said, ideally, in the current situation, it serves as a bypass and offers future flexibility. So really, it should, like we're saying, net zero this time.
okay. And then the barrier between the two will just be a barrier that vehicles can cross? It's just some sort of bollard?
They can't cross. I mean, that's the idea, is alternating the curbed and then the curbed plus a stand-up one, because ideally, the curbed one, we added at the request of, in the discussions with, town staff and the commissioners to kind of provide that if they start to go, they'll feel that. But we also think that spacing the taller ones, that visual obstruction will allow them to know that it's not a bypass in itself. The second lane is supposed to be the bypass.
So essentially, the only thing that's separating the Virginia National Bank traffic and the Chick-fil-A traffic is just that 6-inch bollard?
And alternating, so the bollard that looks like a bike lane one, a curbed one, and then a tall, I believe there's a 3 to 4 feet tall bollards. So those alternate. So that way it's within the driver's eye as well.
Okay, thank you.
And that's option 1. Option 2 and 3 do show the 2-foot curbed island. And like we said, there's just, with the 2-foot curbed island, obviously there's a curb, but we wanted that visual for drivers to know not to cross that as well.
Right now, when we're exiting the drive-through, there's folks that are queuing in those spaces right in front of the restaurant, waiting to pick up orders. Would this replace that?
Ideally, yes, they're able to use the bypass if they get their order. I think there's still the chance for them to use those negative spaces to pull forward, but they'd have the space now to move around those as well.
For mobile ordering.
Right.
One of the things we tried to solve in this was, and we've actually had, we've submitted plans before the council with other applicants. And one of the major discussion points was the conflicts between parking spaces and the drive aisle. So with this application, same goes it, right? If we can bring additional cars into that queuing, we can reduce the conflicts with the people trying to park in the parking spaces that are closest to it. If you go over there today, if you're a Chick-fil-A customer and you've ever noted that, there are conflicts currently with the parking spaces and the drive-through. So this would reduce those conflicts.
So thank you for indulging me, Council. So the other one, when the 2 lanes come back down to one at that choke point, how is that monitored? Who gets to go first?
That's operational.
There you go. How does that work?
Yeah.
Hey, Chad Baker with Chick-fil-A. Thank y'all for hearing our application. We appreciate it. So this improvement that we're requesting is really something we're doing across the country. And really, it has been accelerated as a result of customers wanting to interact with us through their phones. And the pandemic greatly accelerated their adoption of mobile technology. So if you think about it, before the pandemic, they were coming in our restaurants and our drive-throughs regularly, but that preference has now shifted to use this to pay off-site and order off-site. And really, they just want to use the drive-through lane to pick up their order. And as we go through time, they are going to, their adoption of this is going to increase. And so this is how we're going to be interacting with customers in the future. And so we're really just trying to retrofit the site in response to that. We've done this improvement at hundreds of restaurants. We have 3,000 freestanding restaurants in the country. We've done this at probably a third of those already. And all of our new restaurants have 2 lanes all the way around their building. So if we were building this restaurant today, it would have 2 lanes all the way around the building, assuming that y'all would approve that.
That's in place.
So
Sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. So the question is,
Yes.
do those other restaurants choke back down to one single access, or do they have two lanes that exit the property?
It depends on the location and how the circulation is flowing out of the drive-through exit. Some exits come right out onto a public right-of-way, and so we definitely choke it down so that we don't have conflicting movements. The person on the right trying to turn left and the person on the left trying to turn right so that they don't conflict. We always want them to converge down so that there's not ambiguity about how they're going to turn out of that drive-through exit.
So right now, if I'm I'm sorry, I'm trying to be efficient with time. If you're in your pickup aisle and now you got to compete with the people picking up at the window, who monitors who goes first? Is it
our
sort of
team
honored?
members, the team members monitor that, and they're
Okay.
Jason's team members. He's the operator. He's here tonight. So yeah, they just help the customer know, hey, once you pick up your order, you're welcome to go around the person at the window and bypass safely so that you can exit quickly. Really what this solves is if you're a customer who just wants a lemonade, you come through the drive-through, you get it, you've paid for it, all you want to do is pick it up, you can go ahead and go. Whereas if you're a customer sitting at the window with 10 chicken sandwiches, 10 fries, 3 milkshakes, and whatever else, everybody behind that person at the window has to wait for that person to get their order. And so this eliminates that, and it allows customers who've already paid and ordered, whether on-site or off-site, to just go around that car at the window. So
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Could you?
sorry, Chad Baker with Chick-fil-A.
Okay, so you're Chad Baker, Chick-fil-A HQ.
Yes, sir. And I want to explain that a little bit. So our role, so we are the tenant of the property. Don is our landlord. And then Jason is our tenant. Jason's our operator and he's our tenant. Our role in the Chick-fil-A operator relationship is to provide the facilities, the equipment, everything that's consistent about the Chick-fil-A brand. Jason's role is to bring the team to the equation. So all of the team members that are at that restaurant work directly for Jason. They don't work for us. They are not team members employed by Chick-fil-A Inc. They are team members employed by Jason's local business. Jason has 2 restaurants. He is a rare individual within the Chick-fil-A world because most Chick-fil-A operators have 1 restaurant. And our operator agreement says that that is their sole livelihood and they are committed, they are fully devoted to that restaurant. We hope that that's what makes us different as a restaurant brand, is that his local ownership, not his investment in Chick-fil-A, but his literal ownership of Chick-fil-A as a local business affects who we are as a brand. And hopefully our customers see that. For the last 10 years, we have been awarded the #1 in customer satisfaction with the American Customer Service Index. And so doing things like this help us to continue to give our customers what they want. We're very excited to be able to offer this to Jason as a capital improvement at his restaurant so that he can continue to be competitive among other Chick-fil-A restaurants and other businesses in the area, but also so that he can give his team members what other team members have at other restaurants and what other customers have at other restaurants. So thank y'all for considering it. I don't want to take up any more of your time.
Well, I still have.
Joe.
I'm starting to generate quite a number of questions.
Okay.
So he's basically the franchisee, is that what we're saying? You guys are the money guys and he's the operator.
He's the operator.
Okay,
So per our operator agreement, we make all the capital improvements on his behalf.
okay. Does he get to speak tonight in the
He does.
presentation?
If you would like him to speak, yes.
Yeah, I'd love to. Love to hear from him. I was here when we approved the initial SUP to build the.
I remember.
Yes. And I remember you. Welcome. Good to see you.
Jason Ward. As Chad said, I'm the local operator here in Haymarket. I also own the Gainesville restaurant. I do remember that, and I thank you guys for having us tonight. Obviously, that business has been open since 2016. I think we've been a really good community partner in that time. As many of you know in the room, we're really passionate about the way we run our business, the way we take care of our customers, take care of our staff. I know many of you are customers. I think the chief and his guys are in the restaurant more than me. So for all of you that are customers, thank you. Myself and 125 others in that building alone work hard every day to take care of this community. I had a lot of things that I thought about saying tonight. And the only thing that really, really mattered was that 8 years ago, so let me back up for a second. 42 years ago, my dad started with Chick-fil-A. I grew up with the business. He recently retired. At the age of 21, I became a Chick-fil-A operator. I'm 25 years in now. And 25 years ago, I would have never, ever, ever told you that I would be a multi-restaurant owner. That was pie in the sky, and I was not worthy of that. I don't know that I still am worthy of it, but 8 years ago, Haymarket gave me that opportunity. It's changed my life. It's changed the lives of another 125 team members. Some of them are here tonight. Give us the opportunity with this change to impact more customers, to take care of more customers, to serve them better, to be more efficient, to just take care of our neighbor, our voter, and my customers. That's all I ask. We just want the opportunity to grow this business as we have in 8 years, get better, and keep taking care of folks. Thank you.
Okay, I have some operational questions.
Go ahead, Joe.
So, and the traffic guy might want to step up here. That's Mr. Atkins, is that correct? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the K factor that you used in your trip generation table and why you wouldn't have done some observations on site rather than using the K factor?
The K factor, I mean, that's pretty consistently what's represented, especially when we're dealing, a lot of times when we perform these traffic studies, we're looking at the area averages, and the K factor gives us an opportunity to estimate that based off the peak hour trips, which is mainly what our data center is based, our data set is based off of. So that kind of gives us the most accurate representation rather than, since it didn't arise to the level of performing a full traffic study, we didn't actually go out there and perform observations. We're basing off of our Chick-fil-A data set, what we've observed at other stores with 1 drive-through lane, 2 drive-through lanes of various square footages.
Okay. And I think I heard earlier somebody say something about improving efficiency.
Yeah.
All right. So if you improve efficiency, doesn't that increase capacity and throughput?
Not necessarily. I think it, when you see that, we're really speaking to operational capacity and efficiency. Again, like we mentioned here, we're not changing anything about the kitchen, the number of staff on site in order to process cars any better. What the efficiency improvement is the throughput within the drive-through of the existing operations, and
So it would be a throughput improvement.
of the existing traffic it's generating.
Perhaps could induce growth, more cars, more people looking to come in.
Based off the factors we have here, where we're only adding drive-through lane, I don't see a reason why additional capacity would be generated by this site. Just speaking to the addition of the bypass lane, we don't see that as generating additional traffic.
So what you're saying is the limiting capacity is the building itself and the ability to manage and serve so many customers based on its size.
Correct.
not so much the traffic.
Based off the data we have, that's how we see the increases.
Okay, Jason, step up, please. I have a question for you about operations here.
Yes, sir.
And I think you guys do a great job. Don't get me wrong. I'm just trying to understand this a little bit better. All right. So have you looked at ways of intervening, like an interdiction before these cars get into the queuing lanes, especially if it's a mobile order or special orders? Have you looked at possibly bypassing those lanes and using parking locations identified on your property, not your property, Mr.
So we
Downs?
currently do that
Okay.
for mobile orders, but the
How
majority.
does that work? Can you just walk me through, how does a mobile order work?
Yeah, so as Chad was saying, the customer uses their phone when they get into the parking lot. They are, what's the word I'm looking for?
Pickup line, pickup.
Curbside.
Curbside.
No, it lets us know that they're geofenced. There's the word. They're geofenced to let us know that they're there. They've told us they've checked in. That populates to our KPS, tells us the order's there, and we take it out to the curb or the parking spot at this point.
Oh, so they're not in the queue at all?
No, but the majority of those customers they don't want to get out of, they don't want to park. They want to use their phone, get in the drive-through lane, and just stay in their car and keep moving. Obviously, the addition of this mobile through lane allows them to do that. They've placed their order, they've paid for their order, we've delivered it back in the queue. And now with this additional exit point, they can leave and bypass those other customers and move on with their day.
I get that. I'm still not sure why you wouldn't be able to interdict essentially and have those folks. You're saying it's more of a customer service issue then? They don't want to be stopped. They don't want to be parking. You're saying they want to continue to flow through the process?
I am the engineer here, but I just and this week visited the first site like as was a mobile through, but in the app they have to choose when they get there if they want it to be curbside, just if they want a curbside in or drive through. So they're choosing. So I don't believe that there's any way for him to override if they say they're in the drive through and they're already in the drive through.
Right.
There's no, because you don't necessarily take their order until they get in and check in which fashion that they've parked or where their car is sitting. So, I mean, maybe a great idea for Chad to take back, but right now, there's no way, as far as I know, for him to be alerted, if this is a gigantic order, we need to force them to park, right? So that's the idea. And I don't think we've emphasized it at this meeting. And I know we have in the past. The idea is maybe all you want is a lemonade, right? You don't want to sit behind Joe at the drive-through window that's got 20 orders. Oh, sorry, I didn't even.
Wrong with Joe?
My eyes are so. Well, maybe you have your lemonade and you don't want to sit next to Susie that's sitting there picking up, 20 meals.
Right.
You just want your lemonade and you want to get out, right? So that's the thing is it's not even always that person, like that person might have ordered all 20 meals in the drive-through lane. So you can't necessarily tell them, sometimes they do, right? Go park, but it can hold them up. So the person just getting their lemonade can get out faster. It's just how it can move. But I know Chad can speak to it better and maybe there's improvements that could be made, but.
I'll just try to simplify it a little bit. So our goal is to optimize every service channel that we offer, whether that's a dine-in customer, a drive-through customer, a curbside customer, a mobile customer, a third-party delivery customer. Like we have lots of different channels that in how we interact with customers. It used to be that codes and ordinances were written to allow for only dine-in or drive-through. I don't think most codes and ordinances were written contemplating what mobile technology has done for customer preferences and mobile adoption. We, as the end user and as the holder of that real estate or the improvements on that real estate, we are simply trying to adapt our building, which was built at a time when mobile technology was not an issue or factored in codes and ordinances. We're simply trying to retrofit it to allow mobile customers to use it more efficiently. Here's our thought about it, simply stated. If a drive-through customer who chooses to use the drive-through comes through, and let's just say, for example, that the drive-through is 60% of the business, and dine-in is 20% of the business, and mobile, curbside, third-party is 20% more of the business. If we are not accommodating the 60%, for people to get into the drive-through lane, then they start backing out into the parking lot. And then a customer who chooses to use the dining room can't actually park because they're trapped either in their parking space or they can't get in that parking space because the drive-through customers are spilling out into the parking lot. We cannot control how that customer chooses to interact with us, whether they want to use the drive-through lane, whether they want to use the dining room, whether they want to do curbside, or whether they want to have DoorDash come pick it up for them. We simply have to figure out how to provide the best customer experience possible when they choose to interact with us. And that's really all we're trying to do. We're simply trying to make it the best experience possible for any customer choosing any service channel. And right now, the drive-through service channel is affecting the dine-in service channel, the curbside channel, the third-party delivery channel, because the people in the drive-through are affecting how the parking lot is working. And so really just building capacity into the drive-through beyond the order points so that a customer who's already placed their order and is going to the window can get out once they get their order. Right now, they have to wait. So there's no incentive for them whatsoever to use the mobile app because they're sitting in line and waiting just like everybody else. But if we give them just a little more concrete, then they can get around that person at the window and be on their way.
I have one more question.
Yeah, Joe's still got the floor. You're next, and then Tracy Lynn, you follow.
Okay, so these three options, they're
Yes, sir.
not in our packet tonight. And I want to ask the planner, has he seen the other two options? And has he had an opportunity to evaluate them as he has the first one?
There's been discussion of additional options in meetings I had with the applicant. That being said, this is the first I've seen of the diagrams. I'll save my final comments once it's an agenda item and not within the public hearing.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Matt?
So I'm not sure who to address this to, so I'll state it out there, and whoever wants to step up can step up. Do want to thank you all for coming. Like Chief over there, I'm probably one of your regular customers as well, so very familiar with everything that you've talked about between using the app and using the drive-through, et cetera. My question kind of actually comes down to a safety concern, and I've seen other Chick-fil-A's doing this with at other areas of the country. Frankly, that I've traveled to, as well as locally here, where there are multiple lanes. And one of my, concerns is something that Chick-fil-A does differently than other franchises, where you actually have your team members who are generally speaking, teenagers or young adults, young men and women, who are actually out in the walking amongst the cars. And one of my concerns would be if you're talking about a second lane, where now they actually have to cross over a lane of traffic versus having to stay on one side as they do right now. What considerations or assurances can you give us that these team members will be safe within the town and within that parking lot there?
I mean, I think number one, our team members are very, well, obviously they're passionate about their job and taking care of guests. You know that because you're a customer. They do wear the yellow vests. We do take those precautions so the customers see them. I actually believe at my Gainesville location as well, the team member outside actually slows the customer down because we are at the window. We are talking to them. We're slowly walking with the car. So while this additional mobile lane will allow them to exit, they're not really crossing over anything necessarily. And team members are out there to tell them, you may now pass these cars. I mean, we're out there directing that traffic. So I've never had an incident in 15 years, 8 years here in Haymarket where a team member's been in any danger or been hurt. We have had a few bumper to bumper accidents in drive-thrus from time to time, but I actually believe our team members are very safe outside.
There's also, if you look at the plan, there's a minimum of 2-foot employee striping between vehicles. So that is outside of that minimum lane width for the vehicles to allow them to move safely between vehicles in the lanes. And then there would be typically a crosswalk beyond the door, the window, for them to cross to the second so they can utilize that. But that would be beyond where they are already directing people to stay or go.
So they would cross at, kind of where, if you kind of think about where the I'll call it the main, it's not even a window anymore, the main door, kind of to get to, between inside and outside for the drive-through area. There would be a crosswalk there, going over to the bypass lane, and that would be the lane that the team member would use in order to cross safely.
Right. And then they can safely navigate between vehicles in each lane in there. I believe at this site it may be 2-foot striping. Typically 2 to 3 is what you'll see for them to navigate up and down where those cars are.
Hey, just real quick, I have 7 or 8 team members here tonight. Guys, have honest opinion. Have you ever felt unsafe in a drive-through?
Yeah, I mean, one thing at the Gainesville store that we teach our team members.
Please
when-
go over there.
Yeah, could you come on?
Yeah, I'm Josh
We're
Hubbard.
gonna make sure we get everybody up here standing.
Yeah,
at some point.
absolutely,
That's our goal.
But my name's Josh Hubbard. I work over in the Gainesville restaurant, Virginia Gateway. And one thing we teach our team members, because our curbsides are on the other side, is always make the first step back. So that's one thing in precaution. Like, you're never walking in front of the car in front of you. You're always taking the step back. And that's just one of the precaution things while they're wearing the vest, while they're being aware of the vehicles around them. And we always try to have that conversation with them as a matter of safety. So.
May I add to that?
Great.
Okay.
I do want to add just one thing to that question. So as a company, Chick-fil-A, as a brand, we have a pretty robust process of vetting, standard operating procedures. We have teams of people within the organization whose sole job is to manage safety and risk. And so those teams, together with our outside consultants who are civil engineers, traffic engineers, they work around the clock, quite frankly, on developing standards for our operations. So nothing that we're proposing here tonight is especially unique or different or outside of our standard operating procedures or our civil standards that we have as a company that we pass on to our civil engineers to make sure that everything complies with our minimum standards as a company. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I think I'll just kind of add on to that. I think my concern for everybody was probably maybe even less so the team members, but it's exactly what you said before. It's this, and everybody who is mobile ordering is coming up there looking at their phone while ordering. And I can say that I have seen that at frankly both the Haymarket and Gainesville location right now.
Is it just a quick comment associated with that, or?
Yes, basically what I was going to say is I do share your concerns in terms of potential risk to the employees, right? What we're talking about here is potentially the employees walking in front of vehicles to get to the middle lane and walking up and down the middle lane between cars. But at the same time, we're saying we're going to use those 2 lanes as bypass. So we have team members walking up and down just on the stripe. There is nothing guarding them, right? But also we're allowing cars to change lanes. So I'm sorry, but
Yeah, if I could-
that is
if I could
in
just
my
respond to
personal
that.
opinion, that is a risk to the employees.
Yeah, if I could respond to that. So I want you to think about how every customer enters a Walmart or a Target or a Home Depot. Every customer that walks into one of those big boxes or into a restaurant or any restaurant where parking or any facility where parking is provided, that customer interacts with cars every single time. And they're doing it without striping. They're doing it without safety vest. They're doing it without any training of how to cross the street or how to get into that building safely. And yet every Walmart, every Target, every Home Depot, every Lowe's, every single one of them, every single person who does business physically at that location must cross the main aisle of traffic, 2-way traffic, not 1-way traffic, but 2-way traffic to get into that building. Customers understand the risk associated with doing business with a retailer, and the choice that they make to drive to that facility and park get out of their car and walk into that building. We are providing a safer solution so that they never have to get out of their car and enter that building. We have trained individuals who know how to manage the situation, who have been thoroughly trained and given standard operating procedures to get their product and leave the site. I'll leave it there.
Okay, but hold on. At the end of the day, you're gonna allow the employees to walk in front of vehicles, walk between vehicles, right? Again, you are increasing the risk or the likelihood of an employee getting hurt, right? Risk is about impact and likelihood, right? In this case, you are increasing the likelihood of an
Okay,
incident. right?
I'd like to cut this right here because this is more of a debate and the debate should be part of the agenda item and not the public hearing. Hearing should be facts. So we can continue this when we get to the line item within the agenda. But before, we'll do the debating then. But Tracy Lynn, do you have?
No, I'm happy to.
You want to wait for the agenda item? So yeah, we'll continue this in a couple minutes, but want to try and get through the public session before we do go into the discussion and debating session. So are we good on the dais here? Okay, we'll move on then to citizens' comment. Do we have anybody who wants to make comment?
Hello.
Please state your name and address, please.
Lori Parker. I'm actually a resident of Gainesville. Will you not hear me?
Oh, no.
Nope.
Okay.
It's a public
very
session.
If safety was really a concern, you'd have some better lighting outside, if I can just say that. And then you'd also have these, what are they, the concrete parking berms that are in front of these parking spaces. They'd be yellow so people didn't trip on them. So if safety was a true concern, so let me just say that. I think based on the comments that I've heard so far that I might be a mobile super user. So while I was standing here, I ran my numbers. 76% of my orders are mobile. So I have a total of 122 orders this year at Haymarket. 93 of those were mobile orders. And let's see, my year-to-date sales are over $1,700. I am a family of 3. The majority of my spend is coming from the soccer fields, which, as you know, were just all redone because everybody's making a left. So when we make a left, the majority of us do a mobile order, not in the lane, but on our way here for all the shakes. 3 shakes in the car, please. And then we get here and then we wait on, 55 or Washington Street. A lot of beeping, very unsafe. Once I get in, I get my shakes after a while and then I get out. But what's happening more often is, and I don't think that lost revenue is being discussed, is that when we exit the soccer fields and we come up to 66, it's very easy to go to Gainesville. So that's what the majority of us after the soccer events have been doing is like, forget Haymarket. It's crazy. You can't get a parking space. The line's out the door. Let's just all go to Gainesville. So I know that my large Diet Dr. Pepper Light Ice is more expensive in Haymarket by about 2 or 3%, right? Because you add that little tax. I don't mind paying that tax, but I'm just letting you know that you're missing out on lost revenue. If I'm only 3 people generating $1,700 a year, by the end of the year, $2,000, how much lost revenue are you experiencing from all of these soccer players going to Gainesville? That's all I wanted to say. Hopefully you approve it. Thanks.
My turn. Tom Tomlinson, Dominion Valley. I recognize a lot of you all. I'm at Chick-fil-A every morning. Having said that, now that my grandchildren have showed me how to use my phone, I like this mobile app thing. So for about 6 months, I've been using it a lot. What it boils down to me is this, and if I can say two things, I hadn't planned to say one, but let's do the safety thing first. Well thought out, well thought out. Of course, I think we're all concerned when people are walking around and cars are moving and that kind of thing. But I will say, much to my wife's chagrin, I use a lot of fast food restaurants. And it is not unusual at all to see how well the Chick-fil-A, both Gainesville here and Manassas, as a matter of fact, how well trained I think the employees are. Now, that's my observation. But the most frustrating thing is efficiency. I go back to the efficiency point. If you go into the Haymarket Chick-fil-A, you get the best service around. That's my opinion. It's well-run, it's courteous, and it's efficient. But if you want to go through the drive-through line, take your time. Simple as that. But we do want to go through the drive-through line for convenience. Now, having said that, you all have to weigh a lot of different things. But I would tell you the efficiency issue is the prime thing that I would be concerned about. And I think it's much more efficient to have 2 lanes, like most of the restaurants, not just Chick-fil-A, have. To include the McDonald's directly across the street, which I'm sure you guys had to approve that too. But having said that, efficiency is what we're looking for. Thank you for taking the time.
Hey, good evening. My name's Connor. I live over here in Robinson Village, here in Haymarket. So I just wanted to come out and obviously submit my support for Chick-fil-A. I know we expressed some concerns about safety. Obviously, they can't control people. You said people were using their phones in the drive-through. They can't control that. People are using their phones every day when they're driving. I'm sure the chief can attest to that. People drive every day with their phones. That doesn't impact any more safety. There's team members out there taking orders in the 2-lane drive-through already. They're already across lanes of traffic. So I don't see how your concern on adding that extra lane will cause more safety risks, because there's already team members that do that already. I'm sure all of y'all have been into the drive-through multiple times. So you can see the team members that are outside that are already in the lanes of traffic, and there's been no incidents. And I want to give you a situation. I know you guys come through in the morning, say you're coming to work, say you're running behind, you woke up late, you just want like a chicken biscuit. But the person in front of you it's a work truck, they ordered like 7 meals and you're stuck, and now you're going to be late to work. And that's all I have to say. I just hope you guys approve it. That's all. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. James George. I live off of Sudley Road, just up the road here a little bit. I'm fortunate enough to be a remote worker, so I kind of get to play in my pajamas all day. Not really, but on the opportunities, my schedule is pretty tight, even though I'm working from home. And when I do have the opportunity to go out and grab lunch, I usually have a pretty tight 30-minute window. It's about all I can do. If I, set my watch, hop in my car, even if I place my mobile order in my driveway before I turn out onto the street, to get to the restaurant, get through the drive-through, and get my butt back in my chair within that 30-minute window. And then I got to eat my food during my meeting. So I'm kind of in support of this, because if you have that opportunity to kind of, expedite those people that have already placed their order, they're already in the queue, that might give me 5 minutes at home to be able to actually eat my food instead of having to try to stress and work through a meeting or something like that while I'm eating my food. So I just wanted to leave it at that. Thank you all for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. You'll have to forgive me speaking in uniform because I'm not supposed to, so just ignore the uniform. I'm going to bring a different point of view. I live in Gainesville. I live in Hopewell's Landing. However, I do a lot of work in the community. Obviously, I'm a BSA leader. I'm also a Girl Scout troop leader. So I'm here all the time. I drive through Haymarket all of the time. And I've heard a lot of concern tonight about the safety of the employees and the staff in the parking lots. I have to say, when I'm a former SWAT dispatcher, so directing traffic is always dangerous, but when cars are in a drive-through lane, they're looking for people. It's when they're not looking for people that is a problem. So drivers expect people to be outside in the drive-through lane. So you're always watching. So I think the safety aspect of that might be mitigated like some of the other gentlemen said before. Having said that, I think a point that's not been looked at potentially is the impact to the traffic on Washington. Okay, I have been stuck behind people trying to turn into Chick-fil-A more than once. I've almost gotten hit more than once. I've also attempted to come out of the bank and gotten creamed by somebody trying to leave Chick-fil-A. So while I think there's a lot of look at the expansion, I'm sorry, because that's what it is, the expansion of business for Chick-fil-A, because improving efficiency, we all know is going to improve business. I would offer that some thought should also be placed on the greater impact to traffic in an area that is already struggling with the impact of traffic. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you all doing? My name is Justin. I live off Lightner Road, and I'm a Chick-fil-A owner from Fair Lakes in Fairfax, Virginia. I recently just got approved for the same thing as Jason. And I'm in a very residential area. If you've ever been to Fair Lakes, Chick-fil-A, super community driven. And one reason we did this is because we were backing out onto the road, right? And so we wanted to improve that for the neighbors. She said a great point there. How can we help with that? And so I think about the future of adoption of this. What happens when there's no more registers and everybody has one of these? And you can order anything, right? So I think us being a visionary brand, thinking about that and how we can impact the community to be a good neighbor, right? And so I think that's the first thing we can function on. 2, safety, same for me. I've been an operator for 8 years. I've never had an incident, right? Most people are very courteous to us and aware of us. But I tell you what's dangerous is when there's an angry person behind a guest that's stuck. Super scary. Like that's the only time I've ever seen people go over curbs. That's when it gets dangerous. And so efficiency, yes. Safety, yes, right? But what makes the best for everybody? I think that's what we have to look at. And we have to adopt, right? I've only lived in Haymarket for 2 years, right? You guys are doing a great job growing, right? You got to be visionary. What's the impact of everything around us, right? I think that's where we got to go. We got to be a future. We can't think now. We have to think 2 and 3 years out. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, guys. Thanks for this opportunity. My name is Christian Smith. I'm a local resident here in Haymarket. I own 3 homes, 1 downtown Haymarket in the town, 2 outside of the town. And so I moved down here in 2009 with Jason, with Chick-fil-A. We are pretty much one of the visionaries to create this drive-through at that restaurant, Gainesville. If you guys lived in Haymarket, you probably went to Gainesville a long time ago and noticed we'd have paper and pen out there. We were one of the couple stores that were the visionaries of the iPad in efficiency and innovation. Takes me to where we're at today, which is crazy, is everything's through technology. And we're doing well, I shouldn't say we, because I'm not with Chick-fil-A anymore, but they're doing 200 cars in a drive-through an hour. And the public still thinks we're what? Slow, right? So I think the approach, and one of the things I always get concerned about, and I use Effie's, if you guys have been to Effie's before, a couple years ago before they started doing debit cards, you would ride by Effie's and pass it up because you looked at the line. I do that today, and I opened up this Chick-fil-A with Jason. I was one of Jason's managers, and I drive by it because I'm like, number one, if I have my daughter with me, I don't go in there because I know I have to cross traffic to go back downtown. So I'll get on 66 because it's not safe pulling out, because I can see the impact hitting potentially where my daughter's going to be. So the question is, how do we become more efficient and safe, right? It's the thing Chick-fil-A talks about all the time in training. The most important thing, food safety and the safety of the guest. There's nothing more, that conversation's had every day in every restaurant, 1 million times a day. And I think what this mobile opportunity is going to do is streamline people coming and going. Why? Because it will stop the bottlenecks. The problem is people come down Washington Street, which that's the way I come. I look over there and I'm like, there's no chance I'm getting that drive-through in and out today. And so I go to Gainesville. right? So how many people we're losing out on revenue, but you don't want to lose out on revenue for the safety of your guests. That's the concern, Nate, is how do we get people in and out safely? And it's going to come down to Jason in the training. Once this is approved, because I'm going to speak into existence, because I think it's a great thing, it's going to give clarity and streamline, right? People are going to come there because the team members are going to train the guest what to do. If you want to come and go sooner, use the mobile app. Here's how you do it, right? There's going to be a big training purpose, and then it's going to fall back on the staff, giving clarity to what the car is going to do. Mr. Ma'am, you're going to obviously move forward here. You're going to go to the left. You're going to the right. You're going to pause. You're going to look for this person. It's all clarity, right? It all can be trained. So none of this safety concerns can't be trained, right? And it's obviously some efficiencies on whether you do delineators or hardscape. That's all going to be part of the structure of it. But I think once it's permitted and there's clarity on how to get people in and out safely, I think everybody wins. You guys win, the town wins, the service of the community wins, Jason wins for ROI and employing more people, and I think overall it's a win-win situation. Thank you for your time.
I was hoping I wasn't going to be able to have to talk. I've been at work since 8 o'clock this morning. I'm the general manager at Haymarket, and I recognize a lot of you. One thing I'll say is that when we opened the store, and I opened the store with Jason and Christian, in 2020, our drive-through business was 73% of our overall business. It's down to 67% as of this year. But our sales are up. We have more people coming inside than ever before, which leads to what they've been talking about, efficiency. So people see our lines and they're actually coming in more. And it's also the growth of the town. The town has grown. We're more of kind of a rest stop. I see more people that I don't recognize than ever before. So people are coming in more. But if they had the option of getting in and out, especially when they're traveling, that lane would help a lot. The perception is we're actually pretty fast. You can get in and out of our drive-through in 2 minutes and 45 seconds at lunch, 3 minutes, 11 seconds at dinner. But people see a line and they don't trust us still, so they come inside. So that creates that backup. When you see that backup out on, and we haven't had that in a while because it is down 67%. But when you see it, it's not, you're still getting in and out in 4 minutes, but people don't trust that. So that's something to keep in mind. One thing I'll say about, safety concerns, there's nobody that cares more about the safety of the people that work in our stores than I do, and our managers. But parents trust us to take care of them when they come to work. So we have, 100 families between both stores for kids that know they're going to be outside, and they trust us to make sure they're safe. That is the absolute number one thing we focus on, our team, their safety, and then how can we take care of our guests? How can we be visionaries? How can we anticipate what the guest is going to need? That is important, but it's also secondary. Safety is 100%. You have just as much chance slipping and falling when you walk into the building as something happening to you outside in the drive-thru. And I've been there since day one. Operations-wise, if you have any questions, I've been more than willing to answer because I'm there every day. Like I said, I've been there since 8 this morning, and this was important enough to me to still be here. So just keep that in mind. The guest is telling us that this is what they need. It is in us. Chick-fil-A, yes. I mean, everybody, there's no mission without margin, right? But the guests, this is what the guests asked for. The guest is telling us that they want to get in and out quicker, and I think it's a great thing. I thought we were going to get this easily, hands down, no issues, because it just made sense, because the guest is the one that's getting taken care of. It has nothing to do with us. We're good. I mean, we're doing really well. You can see our business is doing well. This is for the guests. And in the end, down the road, this is something we probably have to do anyway. So just keep that in mind. And like I said, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions. I'll see most of you tomorrow. We can talk when I see you. Just let me know.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your first name.
Rick.
Rick?
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, I won't go long because I know this is running really long. I'm Janet Logie. I've worked with Jason for the past 15 years, since Gainesville opened day one. And I will tell you, for safety, I know that's one of the concerns, but also our traffic. Jason cares more about his employees than he does himself. And we have always been them as one of our main concerns. So if you've ever seen, like, when it snows and there's really not a whole lot of snow, but we take the precaution and we close, or we close early because we're worried about everybody getting home. So safety is, we also provide them everything from being out in the elements to, nicer stuff in the summer. We even make them Gatorade at some of them, and the winter gear. we provide that for them. So they are a huge concern. The community and people these days, all of us have our phones. We are addicted to them, and it's just become even worse and worse and worse. So we can't control the people that are driving in the drive-through that are distracted, just like you can't, control them when they're driving down the road. But we train them to watch before they step out. Is someone on their phone? Obviously, we're busy and it gets really busy, but that's a main concern, is us watching them instead of them watching for us, because we know people are distracted when they're driving. But anyways, Jason was talking about how he's changed people's lives. I'm one of them. I have a lot from Chick-fil-A. One of the first things he said is Chick-fil-A provided everything for him in his life the first time I met him, and it has now done that for me, and I'm very grateful. So I think the traffic here is not just us. And then I'll end it with that, because the growth here in the town, you've seen it. I mean, there's more traffic in Gainesville and Haymarket now. It's not just Chick-fil-A. And if anything, we are the most efficient to get people in and out of here as quickly as possible. We're right off 66. If the hotel comes, that's going to bring in more traffic. So to be more efficient and getting people in and out would benefit everybody, the customer and the town. So thank you.
My name is Beth Bayena. I'm the resident of the town of Haymarket. Sorry, baby, surprise. I just want to say thank you to all of you for dedicating your time. I don't know if any of you know this, but it's just not attending the meeting. Most of you in here spend a lot of time at home researching, studying. I just want to come in here and publicly thank you all for serving the town of Haymarket, for making it beautiful, for making it safe. I know you all have heard a very meaningful, important topics in here, and I have the greatest confidence that you will make a very, informed decision to keep us all safe. But again, I just want to say thank you to all of you for serving. That was very nice.
I spoke out of turn before, but my name's Josh Hubbard, and I do work for Chick-fil-A. But at the same time, my passion is students. I was in student ministry for 15 years, like full time, and Chick-fil-A provides for me that opportunity to connect with young people every day and help them grow in their leadership and grow and take that next step and find their big kid job and watch them send off. So nothing's more important to me than my Chick-fil-A kids. I can promise you that. But I frequent the Haymarket a lot. I have a son who's 21. He's autistic, and Chick-fil-A is like his safe place. That's his solace. And in my opinion, just as a parent, as a person who loves students and just has a passion for people, anything that's going to create more a consistency, a more throughway to provide even a safer environment for my son as he walks across the parking lot, I'm in game for. So I just want to let you know, just as a parent, as a person who does care for people, just want to give my support for the through lane with the Chick-fil-A Haymarket.
Hi, guys. I'm Abigail Judkins. I also work for Chick-fil-A, or for Jason, I should say. I'm actually one of the ones that started at 16. So I've been there for the last 14 years, and I have dedicated my life to Chick-fil-A and to working at Jason's location. And I can, from firsthand experience, can tell you that it's my first job. I haven't left. I'm still there. Jason has taken really good care of us. I know for a fact that we take care of our other employees because to me, they are like family. They are a team. And because I saw the way that my previous leaders showed me and cared for me and trained me in their ways, we do the same for our team. And I know for a fact that we will continue that. So I just wanted to thank you guys for hearing us out.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Seckley. I am a resident of Bristow, Virginia. Thank you all for being here and just hearing this community. It really means a lot to us. I just want to say that I've worked for Jason for 8 years now, and he cares deeply about safety. We mentioned the fact that he closes our restaurants if there's even the possibility of snow coming down. And on that same issue of safety, the Gainesville location was operating 3 lanes during COVID. I don't know if any of y'all visited that during that time, but 3 lanes going around the building. There was approximately 100 cars going through each lane in the span of an hour. No team member injuries, no car accidents whatsoever. So 3 lanes going through with no accidents or anything like that, 2 lanes should be fine. We can do it.
Okay, anyone else? Any emails? Okay, on that note, I guess we can close the public hearing. Any objections? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Okay, next item on our agenda is citizens' time for, I guess, any agenda item that's up here. Do we have anybody in the audience who wants to deal with any other town topics? And I'm assuming you have some emails?
Yes, Mayor. I do have 2 emails, or 3, actually 4 responses in regard to your draft strategic plan that I'd like to read into the record. The first one comes from Jim and Maureen Carroll at 6862 Track Court. Thank you for the draft of the town strategic plan. We have a few thoughts on the goal of developing transportation and infrastructure. The idea and need for a municipal parking lot is a necessary and excellent one, especially since Haymarket is a walking town. The overall plan for collaboration with town, state, and VDOT members to improve pedestrian, bicyclist, and motorist safety is a good start. It needs improvements. Washington Street leading into downtown is very congested most of the time and not safe for walkers or cyclists. We recommend a reconsideration of the state and VDOT classification of Washington Street as an emergency route or snow route to a simple downtown road. We suggest multiple lane Heathcote Boulevard parallel to Washington is a much better alternative for the state classification. In addition to Heathcote being a wider and more easily traversed road, it leads directly to the hospital. Also, we recommend adding a town shuttle. The shuttle would supply reliable day-long transportation from the town center to the commuter lots on Cushing Road, the current stop site for the best bus and the OmniRide PRTC. Such a shuttle will facilitate access to outside areas. Other shuttle stops that should be considered include the Gateway Plaza and the Stonewall Shops. A reliable daily shuttle would encourage shopping in the area while eliminating vehicle traffic. Grants might help to finance the proposal. Perhaps local businesses would also help finance the idea. These changes would reinforce the idea of Haymarket as a walking town. The other comments were given through our GoGov app.
Can you hold on 1 second? You need help back there? Oh. Okay.
You good?
No, you're fine.
All right.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
Kim. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, all right, sorry
Continue,
about that.
please.
Of course, none of these have a name or an address, but one comment was, I like the updated safety ideas and preserving history goals. The other one is, I wish the clock could turn back 3 years so residents of Haymarket could say no to data centers as the welcome to Haymarket town and no to nothing but road stop type restaurants on its main street. Haymarket could have been so much better. I can't imagine any vision with the current new built town you've created. The last one is in terms of transportation. I think that Haymarket Gainesville area would benefit from local transportation, local public transportation.
Like this person.
That was it?
Can
And,
can I clarify where that last comment was posted on Facebook or?
All 3 are from the GoGov app.
Ah, okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
We
Two.
posted a survey on Facebook.
Ah, okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
then we'll move on. The consent agendas. Do I have anybody who wants to open any of these reports?
Mayor, if you don't mind, could we please pull the police report?
I'd like to pull the town admin report and the town engineer report.
Any other reports to pull? Okay. Could I have a motion so we could close the other reports?
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I move that the Haymarket Town Council adopt the consent agenda items A1 and 2, B2 and 5, and C1 through 5.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any comments to make before we vote? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let's pull the first item. Administration report.
Yeah, that was me, Mr. Mayor. I know we don't have our TM or our ATM here, but I just want to make a ATM, you're on Zoom?
Yep.
So he can hear us. Oh, wonderful. Acting town manager. Okay, great. Good to hear from you, Roberto. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about the RFP for the sidewalk and any updates you might want to provide to council. Okay, thank you, Roberto. I would like to suggest that we put something in there to track the demo in this report, if that's possible. Okay, and with respect to the stormwater assessment program, have we determined who will be the point of contact here in town?
Yes, I'll share something briefly. Just the main point of contact I'm working with on their end is Adam Henriksen. In our meeting, we mostly discussed what the main needs are for shaping the grant and how I can best help. We have most, especially with the subdivisions given with all the new developments, they require a lot of as-built information to be provided just to ensure the stormwater is accounted for, so it syncs up with the county. We have a lot of that information, so it is my next step to coordinate with our engineer Katie and Adam to ensure that information is given to him so that he can update the grant. Additionally, and we can discuss this in a further council session as well, there are two areas that would require more surveying and a higher cost incurred. We can talk about those two areas within the town in a later meeting, but that's mostly what we discussed, the existing information and any additional surveying and costs associated with that. But happy to help with this and discuss with council further.
Okay, great. And then since we're on the subject of drive-throughs, what's happening with Taco Bell?
Last I heard, it's still special inspections. I checked the inspection report for the county from last month. The permit is issued but not finalized. I can follow up with them on any further information, but that's what we have so far.
That would be great. I appreciate that. Mr. Mayor, I think that's all I have.
Anybody have any other questions? The RFP line item that was discussed a little earlier, you said there's some cleanup that'll happen within the next week. I'm assuming that next week is kind of quick for striping for a crosswalk. So is that including a crosswalk?
Ken, I think if they're going to be repaving, they're going to want to do that first before they do the striping. So that's another consideration.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I just didn't see any details with the crosswalk, and I know that's one of the completion steps that needs to go with the lighting. So, okay, we'll move on to the next report then. We got the police chief report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So Chief, I wanted to check in and see how Officer Khalees is doing. Is she now out of field training?
Not yet.
Okay. When is she going to be cut loose?
Scheduled date for that is the 4th.
Oh, okay, perfect. I knew it was coming up soon. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And then I wanted to allow you the opportunity to speak about the Toys for Tots station.
Yes, we partnered up with a local scout group to use our lobby as a drop-off point for Toys for Tots. So there is a box set up out there. People can drop off 24/7. We'll make sure that the toys are secured, and then we'll coordinate with the scouts to make sure they're disseminated to a location for repurposing to the kids.
Awesome. Thank you. I love that you are offering that. And you are still offering the donation drop off for boxes of basics as well.
Yes, ma'am. We've been doing that for 3 years now, and we're not going to stop. It's been a very good drop-off point. They come at least twice a week to take it out because it gets so packed in there with their stuff. Sarah Tyndall is a great partner and does a great job over there with boxes of basics, and we plan on supporting that program for a long time.
I'm happy to hear it. Thank you, Chief. Just a couple more things. I was hoping that you could possibly speak to the status of the comfort station, that conversation that you had.
Yes, ma'am. I met with the emergency services representative from Prince William County with aid of Thomas giving us some plans, and then our maintenance person, Matt Burrows, was at the meeting as well to do a slight walkthrough of some of the surroundings of the building. And we discussed the options and what we would need. We also discussed a path forward, which we're going to have some more discussions with as we go along the way. There's obviously some other grant opportunities out there for the comfort station. The main issue here is power. You have to have power before you can provide any type of a comfort, and you have to keep a working governance to do that. So, step one is going to be making sure that we can provide power to a comfort station, and then having the amenities that would be here. Keeping in mind that the comfort station would not be a place to sleep or to house. It would just simply be a place to get a break, recharge your phone, pick up material or supplies that you may need during an event that would either have a power outage in town or a severe storm or any other natural occurrence like that. Although we would man it 24/7, people wouldn't be allowed to stay 24/7. They would be allowed to do what they needed to do and then move on. And we provide that service to the community. So I can't give you an approximation of how far along we're on this. We're still in the early stages, and have some future conversations set up with Prince William Fire Department as well to try to keep this program moving forward and get to a fruition sooner rather than later.
I really love that you're seeking out opportunities to better serve our community. So I appreciate you holding those meetings and finding this through with our staff. I would like to talk about two more things on your report. It says that you are searching for a new site to conduct your blood drives. I'm just want to put it out to the universe, right? So would you like to speak to that? What kind of size space are you looking for? How many people do you typically have?
Well, through a day, we might run through about 75 people at our site locations. We prefer to have 6 to 8 tables running at a time. Exact square footage, can vary depending on what we want to do. But obviously, the space that we've had for the last 3 years was a really great area. We actually had more room than we needed. So we are looking for a space that would accommodate that. Red Cross and UVA Health, we're going to do a walkthrough in here to see if we could make it work. The layout here is not perfect because of the raised dais and the platform there. So that's kind of square footage that's not usable. But we might be able to make it work here. We also have a couple other places that we've asked to do walkthroughs at their facilities to see if they could house the blood drives. Our goal, obviously, is to keep it in town. We want, I know that Councilwoman Palsanello, or they like to come and walk into the area and make sure that support the blood drive. And so we want to keep it here. If we can't, we won't. We'll move it off-site or just out of town limits to where it's still close. But we like that walkability to it because there is a fair amount of people that do walk to the blood drive and spend that time getting there. So that's our obvious goal, is to keep it in the corporate limits of the town of Haymarket and to keep the blood drive moving at least twice a year.
Awesome.
We always max out our appointments. We have not yet not maxed out our appointments.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
So last thing, I was hoping that you could let me know how the situation went with the 15 railroad crossing closure. Did we receive any assistance from Prince William County?
Yes, we coordinated with Captain Welsh and Chief Newsham when we found out about the closure. Keeping in mind that we found out pretty close to the time of the closure.
Yes.
Now, not necessarily the fault of VDOT. Obviously, you know that the right-of-way belongs to the railroad. Or that area belongs to the railroad. The VDOT has a right-of-way through it. So we did go back and try to co-coordinate with VDOT to try to push people away from using Washington to Payne to Fayette or Washington straight to Fayette for a detour. We knew that was going to be a problem. And so they did put some signage out on the interstate, trying to get people to go to 29 to the 4-lane areas and stay into those 4-lane areas. But obviously, we do have rather large subdivisions very close by. It's not just about keeping the through traffic out of town. There was people that had to go through town to get to where they wanted to go. So although we put extra people on and we tried to mitigate it as best we could, it was basically just a situation that we were just going to have to eat. And we did the best we could. We did have extra people to work the accidents and things that were kind of piling up. And we kept things moving pretty fluidly as far as our operations go and keeping the town safe from other issues, not just the traffic issues. But basically, it was just one of those, an untenable situation that we had to deal with. And I'm sorry for the community and I'm sorry for us, but it was just one of those things.
Well, I appreciate your apology, but you certainly don't need to give us one. I appreciate you making sure there were enough hands to handle that load at such short notice. So please extend my thanks to staff and Prince William County for stepping up and helping out.
Yes, ma'am.
I would love
It did create as many problems for them as it did for us.
I'm sure.
So, but we were all in it together.
Yes. Well, that's nice. That's what a partnership should be. So I appreciate that. I would like to maybe earmark for a potential next time that this may happen, because that, in the reality of it, the ownership has not changed. The Somerset Old Carolina intersection proved to be quite a choke point for that deeply impacted our town, but also just the community around there,
Yes.
considering that that is a 2-lane each way. Maybe encouraging Prince William County to kind of take ownership of that spot during this kind of an incident, maybe earmarking it for next time. So hopefully we can get more traffic through and out of our 1-lane each way town
Okay.
and out into the greater community. Hopefully that will help.
Roger that. I will go ahead and make a note of that for us, but I will also send that information to Captain Welsh and Chief Newsham, and I forget the lieutenant's name that's in charge of traffic, but I'll make sure that they know that that was a problem area and especially affected the town
I
and the
appreciate
local
that.
residents, and that way they
Yes.
can put it into their planning as well.
Yeah, because school buses weren't dropping off kids until 5:20 p.m. on
Yeah.
the other side, on our newest development on the other side of the bridge. The children were not getting off the bus until 5:20.
Okay.
And I believe they are dismissed at 4.
Gotcha.
So that's quite a long time to be sitting on a bus.
It is. It is indeed.
All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Notes made. Yes, ma'am.
Any other
Yes.
questions?
Yes. So, traffic is on the agenda tonight.
There we go.
There we go. But thanks for those answers. I think part of the challenge is trying to communicate with the railroad in the future. And as we've talked about it, we need to get more and better information in advance so that we can plan a little bit better for that. So we'll be talking about that gentleman that I met down at the VML
Yes, sir.
meeting.
Yes, sir. I will note that we do have a good relationship with the investigator that works, the accidents and things. And I did reach out to him when we found out about it. And he was very helpful. There was another gentleman, I don't remember his name right now. I have it logged back in my office, that was making sure that they were making the repairs as quickly as possible and that we could open that up as soon as possible. They knew the stress that we were in and they were sympathetic to it. But there was only so much they could do as well. A little bit more notice would have been helpful.
Yes.
Especially for social media content and, getting the information out to the public sooner. And I think they would readily admit that. But we still did the best we could with what we had.
Yeah, and to Councilmember Ramirez's point about the traffic issues with Somerset and Carolina Road, I think we need to look into it with the county about pushing out those the signage and the detours a little bit further out than where they were, I think. It seems to me that we could have utilized the 29 or the 15 bypass in other locations, perhaps if we pushed it further out. And, it's the same thing with the through truck signage that probably should be pushed out a little bit further and then enforced as well.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm glad you did bring that up. Treasurer Roberto Gonzalez, or the ATM, as you say, he brought up a very good point. We were able to follow up with Supervisor Weir and his office and staff, and we've sent them a very nice map of where we think no through truck signs should be to try to help alleviate that situation as well. There is some good signage out and about. But there's 4 specific locations that we noted that really needs it. It's just the trucks are circumventing that area, and we think that would be beneficial. So his office was very receptive and very welcoming to our ideas, and they're going to coordinate with VDOT to try to make those come to fruition. So that's not just something that's laying on the table. We're working on that issue as well to try to help alleviate traffic.
Wonderful. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. Just a couple of comments, but I want to say you're holding out on us. I didn't
am.
realize that you were on Channel 7.
Oh, I didn't watch it. I just know that he came and did the interview, and I didn't watch it. I didn't pay attention to it, so I don't know what was on there. But they were here for the 10 or 15 minutes doing an interview about that issue.
All right, I'm going to search it and see if I can find you online.
Very, very, very well.
But I want to just point out a couple of things, and I think it's important to note that the HPD, and I'm going to just read your own words here in the report, collected 2 truckloads of materials and clothing for families in Southwest Virginia affected by their Hurricane Helene. And I think that's well done. And I just wanted to say that. I think that's really, really good of you guys to do all of that.
We even had our admin assistant helping on that, helping unload and unload. But we were able to get it down through a different group, so we didn't make the transport ourselves, which they had a better trailering system than we would have. So they were able to haul it. We weren't without the help of, borrowing a trailer or something else. But we were able to get it down that way
Outstanding.
and take care of that. So,
Super, outstanding. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
yes.
Okay. Anybody else on this report?
Chief,
Yes, sir.
looking at the report here, there seems to be a couple of upticks or uptrends.
Yes.
Trying, if he's, can
Okay.
share any information or details with us that can, inform us as to what is causing these upticks or uptrends. So looking at the average response time, it looks like we went from about 2.5 minutes to one of the highest that we've had this year, I think, in 2024, to about a little bit over 5 minutes.
Well, that's the highest that we've had since it's been tracking, but there was an anomaly in that related directly to the railroad traffic shutdown on 15. We started getting backed up with accidents. And of course, it's very hard for us to get to accidents as well, even though after we were clearing the accidents. So there was a response time uptick just mainly because of that. But that affected the overall average due to the fact of the volume in that short period of time and the fact that we had so many to deal with in that short period of time. So that is the main reason for that uptick, is that 2-day event, really.
The second one is the HPD officer hours spent on follow-up investigation.
Okay, that was, we were asked to start tracking that by Councilman Pastanello 2 meetings ago, but we didn't start tracking it until last month because we were already halfway into that reporting period. So this month was the first reporting period for that. And so the graph is not, so there's not just a dot out in the middle of nowhere. You see all of the zeros just so you can track it to that month and wouldn't be wondering what that single dot over November would be.
Like,
That was something that he had asked 2 meetings ago to start tracking, and so we did.
That makes sense, going 0 to 100.
Yeah.
What's going on? And the last thing is year-to-date traffic violations, specifically speeding, right?
Correct.
It looks like in comparison to 2023, we are currently almost 50%.
Yes.
As a result of more people, speeding within the town, enforcement. Are we
Able to
both?
increase our efforts.
Okay.
Right. Of course, the DMV grant was very helpful for that in the last year. Obviously, that grant starts in October. So 3/4 of the grant was spent in this current reporting period. So that is one of the reasons behind the uptick in that, is that we're able to be out there more. Also, the new signage that has been installed on the west side of town is giving us a better reporting period on when our 85 percentile time is to be working that area, when we know when it's more prevalent for speeders to be in that area. So we're able to target that. And then once we get the sign up on the east side of town, that'll help us target specific times when there's problems in that area as well. So not just more enforcement, but better placed enforcement, better hours spent doing that enforcement.
Okay. So if some of this is related to the grant, what does that mean without the grant in terms of?
Of an exact number, I can pull the number. I don't have the data to differentiate between normal hours worked and grant hours worked in front of me, but I can extrapolate that data and show it in two different formulas for you as we move forward. Now you can see, if you look down into the bar graph, you can see summonses written by quarter. You can deduct that from that quarter's average, and that will tell you what the exact number is. But if you want to see it moving forward, when I start reporting on this year's DMV grant numbers, I can extrapolate that data and let you know what the difference is between normal hours worked and DMV hours worked as far as summonses written and mornings.
Okay.
If that's something you'd like to see.
Sure. And the reason I'm asking that, I'm not sure if it's a concern, right? Without the grant, it would translate to me into less enforcement when it comes to speeding. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, well, less enforcement for traffic related issues. We don't just concentrate on the speeding. I didn't want to target us down to that area. We're looking for any issues that is out there, including driving impaired or anything else that would be there, any violations. But you're going to see that uptick with more enforcement. You're going to see the uptick across the board in the different types of summonses that's written and the warnings it's giving as well. So I can break that down so you can see how impactful the grant is, and how well it's being used and utilized.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? To piggyback on that, Chief, you mentioned the benefits of the signs being able to give you 85 percentile. Do you feel that's a definite importance and improvement to your performance? Is it something we may want to expand to our other through road, which does not have any
It is definitely,
speed signs?
definitely important when you can see what the new signs can do, what the new signage can do as far as the reporting. And I haven't started showing you that reporting yet. I want it to wait until the beginning of a new year. So I'm going to put that in on our next report for January, so you can actually see some of the data that's coming through there, not just related to that, but volume data, which would also more than likely be beneficial with the other issue that you're dealing with here tonight as well, as to what we're seeing currently. And we actually have the numbers from what we've seen in the past as well. And that will help you make better decisions and more informed decisions as you move forward. As far as the other three, we want to do that. VDOT has been a bit of a stickler on the no on that. But we are still working on that issue. But right now we're triaging issues like the no through truck traffic and things that's heavily impacted. You know, as we know, we had that one event specifically where a truck blocked 3 lanes out here for over 2 hours, where we were shuffling cars through our parking lot, just trying to keep some flow and stay going. So the no through truck traffic is an issue for us, especially with the data centers being built just out of town and people coming, or the trucks traveling through our area. But no, it would be great to expand it through the other through lanes and make sure that we're getting that data as well.
Okay. Before we continue on, I want to make sure no one's dancing too much before we do the other report. Can we do the report, or would you like to take a break now?
After the next report is fine.
Okay, then we'll hit the engineering report and then we'll
I'll
take
make
a
that
quick
very
bio
quick.
break.
My
Okay.
question was answered by the ATM, so I have no questions for the engineer's report.
Okay, if I could have a motion to close.
Well, then I would move that the Haymarket Town Council adopt agenda items B1, 3, and 4.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll close that up. We'll take a 5-minute recess so that people can stretch their legs and relieve their bladders.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, let's start this meeting back up. Right now, we're on the agenda items. First agenda item is that consideration for the SUP 2024-001.
Yes. I guess before we pick up where we left off, with council questions, I took a few notes. I also wanted to say too, what I was going to say during the public hearing notice as well was that, I think it's important that we did hear considerations from the community and the region as a whole. Along with that, it's been precedent that even for minor things like zoning text amendments, comprehensive plan amendments, that we vote on the item in the next meeting after the public hearing, a month after. So that is the only thing I'd suggest so far. Do you have any questions so far? I also wanted to get into some technical questions for them as well, now that we have the exhibits before us. And then we can go into further questions. This is for Christina mostly. I'm mostly looking at exhibit 3 that was given with the angled parking. And this is just a question for council's reference too. So for the proposed header curb, is the red line option replacing the delineators or addition to the delineators?
It would replace the
Okay.
delineators, the curbing would. I suppose they still have the option to put in delineators if they like, just
Mhm.
not the curbed ones,
Okay.
obviously wouldn't be necessary.
And then the 2-foot dimension associated with it, is that height or width?
That's width, it's a standard 6-inch height curb,
Okay.
and so that's from face of curb to face of curb.
Okay. And this wasn't, I just want to get this one out of the way since it wasn't really talked about. The focus was on the pickup point for drive-through.
Yeah, sure.
The ingress egress point at the north side of the lot. How much of the drive-through pattern influenced that proposal to make it just an exit point?
So that I'm not actually sure of. And I don't know if Jason left. Yeah. And one thing I'm not sure if we actually ever told you guys, and I think maybe a little bit important, is CPS, we told you stands for the Custom Project Solutions. Those are triggered by a request for the operator. So we can circle back with him. I do believe it is, though, to, like we said, kind of be proactive. We've seen on other sites where that drive-through traffic is spilling out, and now it wouldn't be spilling out into that shared drive aisle.
Okay.
That is a largely based on the assumption of the discussions around the project. It may have been a more specific request.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So he requested that we convert that to an exit only so that you would not have conflicting traffic entering the drive-through from two separate directions.
That makes sense, yeah.
So he wanted to, he just didn't want traffic coming from both directions to come into the drive-through.
Okay, real quick too, I stated earlier while I was going through the staff report, I've noticed over time, a lot of the loading and unloading happens at that site by the dumpster enclosure, by the exit point. What would be the best relocation point for that kind of thing? Just so that exit point's not blocked. Maybe that's something to ask.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
when we
in
circle back to
theory,
it.
the exit point shouldn't be blocked. It's a 15-foot wide, so it's more than ample space for the loading space to be opposite. And I think we could show that better, maybe better markings to show like where they actually need to be, not use any space in this area. Is something I'm sure they'd be willing to put up.
Okay,
Stripe it, sign it, whatever needs to be done.
okay, sounds good. That was just the one outstanding thing I was thinking of since the objective and the focus of the comments and the proposal
Sure,
is about the drive-through
sure.
itself. Other than that, while I have this here, on packet page 23 is the provided wayfinding options. I wanted to see if council has any comments on that as well. I think up to this point, that was one of the strong points of the proposal, the provided wayfinding.
So wayfinding would just be for the Chick-fil-A.
Yes, just for Chick-fil-A, maybe around the general Coral site in general that routes it onto Crossroads Village Boulevard.
I'll have more to comment on this, but to me, it's, the daytime, or is it not daytime smile? Lifetime Smiles that's back there. They're already hidden. And wayfinding overall, the site needs better wayfinding to get people CVS this way, Virginia National Bank this way. So maybe a larger discussion with Mr. Wooden is an overall wayfinding program for the site, not just Chick-fil-A, but that would be a separate discussion. So
I want to piggyback on that because that is something that I think can be done now. Regardless of what a decision is here, I think the internal wayfinding signage is critical to the operation because it gets very confusing back there. And I go from the CVS, I use that back road and go out at the light rather than try to come out of Chick-fil-A onto 55. So that would be helpful for folks. So for me, as a driver and as a customer, I think internal wayfinding signage should be done now and not wait. I mean, I see it's part of the mitigation that you offer, but I think that's something that should be done now anyway. Thank you.
No, I was going to say, I support that, especially as a walker walking through that, knowing how to predict traffic pattern for safety is important. I would like to just clarify that we are discussing about a mobile lane not extending to 3. Because we have 2 already, correct?
Well, there's 2 order points and then
Yes.
it merges to 1.
Right.
Right. So the second lane would just be extended all the way through, not a third lane.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an extension.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure somewhere referring to 3, so.
Is that, you talk about it being a mobile lane. Is that strictly for the apps then, that second lane?
So the initial proposal is to use it as a bypass lane, but I think providing the infrastructure allows them the potential in the future. Chick-fil-A has something called mobile through. And if you haven't been to a site that utilizes it, it's if you've placed the order on your app, it's a whole separate lane you get into, you can scan a QR code, it lets them know you're there. So it really simplifies it even further than just selecting. But initially, the idea is just that it would be used as a bypass, but allows them infrastructure in the future if their business model moves to one single drive-through and then one mobile through. So there's a lot of flexibility and how they can work these 2 lanes if the infrastructure is there. I know that there are some stores where, they may not even have, like, they're not using 2 at all times, or like we're saying right now they're using 2 merging to 1. And so if they did a bypass, it would be, similar, but allows them the flexibility to tell somebody to get out from behind whoever's taking it up. So they're not supposed to be weaving in and out. It's very clear which lane they're in.
So it segregates.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Am I allowed to ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Is it on the same type of topic? I don't know. Are you done yet?
I mean, I have a couple general questions, but otherwise I can turn the time over to you all as well.
Okay. Let Thomas finish up and then.
Okay. Just to confirm too, on Exhibit 2, I noticed that with the initial proposal, if there was a hardscape curb installed, it would reduce it to 21, even almost 19 feet. And with this updated one, it's now 22 feet of aisle space for the Virginia National Bank side. To confirm, was there a dimension reduction in the 2 lanes of the Chick-fil-A drive-through to accommodate? for
No,
that
it's
change?
pushing it. If you look,
Okay.
it's pushing the bank's curbing and sidewalk. So that's why I wasn't done with the initial application, because it
Mhm.
changes the location of their curbing and sidewalk.
And with that change too, is there landscaping that would be affected?
The landscaping adjacent to their building,
Okay.
yes. And then it's not very clear on the exhibit number 3, but with the angled parking, excuse me, there is a reduction in parking, obviously. A loss of a parking space when moving from perpendicular to angled for the bank.
So you, only 1 space, you said?
I believe it's just 1 space. I think we minimized it to 1.
There's 10 spaces now. And then
And
1,
that's still
2,
in
3,
accordance with
4,
their zoning?
5, 6,
Well,
7,
that's the
8.
question.
2. Is there 2? Loss of
Yes,
2?
2.
Okay.
To answer your question, when the site, Thomas, correct me if I'm wrong, when this overall site plan was done, it was supposed to be a comprehensive parking plan.
Uh-huh.
And you're right, that would reduce the number of spaces. And right now, at least my observations, Chick-fil-A's staff uses a lot of their parking to free up parking for customers at their site. So there's already sort of an issue. But yes, that's something we would need Thomas to look at.
Yeah, that being said too, I think the amount of spaces and who uses the spaces need to be separate discussions, but I can follow up on both to make sure the tabulations are good. And then I still have concerns if the landscaping is affected on Virginia National Bank, just to that front perimeter. I think one of the strengths of Exhibit 3 with the angled parking is the ADA spots are not altered at all. There's still a very prominent crosswalk that allows pedestrians to cross there. So I think that's the strength of the 3rd exhibit. And other than that, that's really all I have.
So can I ask the planner a question about what you said earlier? I wasn't sure I understood what you said initially about deferring.
I may use the wrong term. I just figured we vote on this application in the next meeting.
At the next meeting?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
Since, especially now that we've discussed a few options that we may need to circle back on.
Okay.
And it allows these exhibits to be put in the record. It allows all of us to sit on what we've heard in the public hearing today. And it allows me to also update the staff report accordingly based on what we've been given.
Well, I mean, from my perspective, I think that's extremely reasonable. I don't know what the time constraints are on the decision. I would yield to our counselor on that. And also the applicant and whether that works for them as well.
It does. That works for us. I'm not sure what the timing constraints are at this time, though.
But
I mean, that could be waived, you know, from a.
Waiving it, that I think we're all set, that they're open to continuing it and giving some additional time to evaluate what we're hearing today.
Okay.
Then I think we're in good shape.
Okay.
Can I clarify, sorry, to clarify that point, are you suggesting, are we under a constraint by the ordinance?
Well,
is what
by
you're asking?
state statute. to make a
On voting
decision.
on the special exception?
Well, I mean, I would defer to our counselor because he knows better than I do on the
I have to
statute.
make sure I know exactly what time limitations there are. So I have to look at it to be sure, but to the extent that there are, it would be waived by the applicant saying they're okay with the deferral.
Because otherwise then it would be automatically approved. And we're not going to do that as far as I'm concerned. Thank you. Can we just ask in general questions because?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
If
Or
you
do wanna
are,
go to Mary first? Go
Mary,
ahead. Go to Mary first. Go
Thank
ahead.
you.
I'll wait.
So looking at this, I'm sitting as, well, let me first say, I really love seeing how much support Chick-fil-A has. And you guys are efficient. And I always say that if people need to move people, they need to take notes from Chick-fil-A. So you guys are doing a great job. Let me just say that. So I'm thinking as a person who comes to Chick-fil-A and I live in town. I visit you, you're towards the end of town, right? So if I'm in the drive-through lane and we're sitting here with these 2 lanes of traffic and these changed roadway signs, can you walk me through how I can get home safely? Because I know you guys have not conducted the traffic study for the area. So with these wayfinding signs, I'm in the drive-through lane and I want to turn left on Washington Street. Can you walk me through how to do that without, or in the best way possible?
I mean, there would be a couple options now with the wayfinding signs, but the idea of adding the additional signs is to try to let people know that there's a way to get home without utilizing that full access right in front of Chick-fil-A on Washington, because a lot of this was added based on conversations with town staff and the commissioners and the concern that that is a bit of a dangerous intersection right now. So the idea would be that you can, leave the drive-through either right or left, depending on which way you want to go on the sign. And then you can still exit the Chick-fil-A site out through the rear to the shared access to get where you want to go. If you're going to go home, then obviously you would just follow your way around to the light. And then I think we've also provided a couple signs. I'm trying to go off of memory here without it right in front of me. That would allow you, if you weren't going home, maybe, as opposed to getting back on, to get, going further north or west, you're able to do so based off of the wayfinding signage as well. Kind of adding signs, not necessarily to tell people they can't use that intersection, right? But to give them options and make it very clear how they can get to whichever direction they need to go by utilizing the other drive aisles already there.
Okay.
It's not blocked. You can still use Washington Street. I just don't think it's people's preferred.
Oh, it's certainly not mine. I much prefer to go through the back and then hit the light, because I really do love how that light makes everyone wait for me and wave at them as I go.
So if I can just clarify that for you. So you get out of the drive-through at the end of the drive-through queuing, there'll be signage there that will say Route 55 eastbound, right.
Okay.
So we're trying to, again, relieve that main drive aisle point. So we're going to say Route 55 eastbound, turn right.
Okay.
Once you get down to where the CVS intersection is, we'll have another wayfinding there that points to the back, saying 55 eastbound, turn right. So now we're going to get you back right and right. And then at that point, depending on if that new drive access point will be there, which is right behind the CVS. If that's there, again, another wayfinding will keep pointing you to, and it's going to take you around to the main traffic signalization. So we're hoping that, you being a resident, you'll make your own decision.
Sure.
But if you're new to the community and you do want to go east, you probably likely will follow those wayfinding signs.
Right.
It'll get you back to that main intersection. So.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
I was going to ask a litany of questions, so you go right ahead first.
Sure, we may have the same questions, so. Okay, the drive aisle right now, so my concern is this, and I don't question on-site, containing on-site, how you move efficiently. To me, it's the context and the traffic patterns you're changing as a result of this project. And implicitly, if you do this well, you're moving more traffic through the site. And the biggest concern I have right now is, I talked about choke points earlier, the amount of traffic that's now having to go through that intersection, the full movement intersection, to get out of the site. And right now, we had hoped Lidl would be here already, but there was supposed to be an interparcel connection that would have brought people out to the light. But you're now redirecting traffic to come all the way around. Right now, when you leave the exit, the drive-through, it's a quagmire. You got 3 other tenants coming through trying to get out to that full movement intersection. Now, if you have people that can't come in through the top, they're going to have to come around the site and get in. Lifetime Smiles just opened. That's why I asked about a TIA earlier. Just the traffic situation's untenable right now. My biggest concern is how is this going to be managed, and expanding the use beyond the limits of your current use is problematic. So I would hope that there's probably other discussions about how to rearrange traffic or rearrange other options for the site. You may remember when this project first came in, the building was 90 degrees or parallel to the road. We had recommended it go 90 degrees to open up the parking lot and open queuing to be able to get people through the site. People getting into Lifetime Smiles, again, that's new traffic patterns. So it's not enough just to say the bank's not bothered by it. Now you have people trying to get back, and those medical office uses tend to turn over traffic a lot faster. So right now it's about 24 feet, right? 24 feet's the drive aisle. So people park in a 90 degrees. If we go angled and there's only 17 feet, we talked about earlier, you look at 20 feet for a car. I now have a car backing up out of that angled spot, potentially coming across that concrete median into the drive lanes, because my wheel is what, 3 feet from the end of my car. So now I'm backing up with 2 other lanes of traffic that are trying to come down to a choke point. It just seems unmanageable. Whether it's 90 degrees, to me with a 90 degrees, you look at it right now, people are not paying attention to it. People leave Zandras all the time, even though it says your little arrow on the site that says one way only. To me, even if it stays at 90 degrees, you're inviting people to confuse the traffic pattern. So now you're going to have 2 people in 21 feet, that's normally 24, plus 2 other cars. You're going to have 4 lanes of traffic within about 60 feet, trying to move around and trying to get out that bottom entrance out into that full movement intersection. I don't see how we can engineer a solution that can not just handle your efficiency to what you're trying to do, but handle the traffic patterns that the rest of the tenants are going to have to handle. And that's what I'm trying to think through in my head right now. I did not pick up immediately on the fact that we're closing that northern entrance, or at least making it one way. Again, that was supposed to be these interparcel connections were by design to limit traffic. And now you have 70 residents, you have a childcare center, you have potentially a hotel. Now that can't get into Chick-fil-A, they're going to have to go all the way around, and they're all going to go through the same entrance right here. That's where I think a TIA would be helpful. And that's the challenge we have with the Starbucks, is that if all these things hit at the same time, all these restaurants hit at the morning peak, that's going to overwhelm the queuing on Washington Street and overwhelm the light. So that's my initial thoughts on that. I don't know how we engineer these other solutions, and that's sort of my thinking at this point. Thanks.
I think that was very well articulated. I hope I don't repeat a lot of those, but I think they're really important points, because I look at the internal circulation as a system, right? And this seems to be more of an add-on, an incremental. And I don't know how you guys figure out a way to look at the entire system and then the internal flow. I think that's crucial. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about. And that's what's been bugging me for a long time as we go through this report. So that's something we really got to think about. The interparcel connectors, really critical and important for the flow as well. You want to respond to that? Go ahead.
The interparcel connector, I'm just making sure you guys are clarifying that to your preference, I guess, or your comments are in regards to that intersection or the entrance to the north being two-way in
Well,
and out.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to.
That's what I was referring to, is that you were supposed to have an interparcel connection to take you over to Lidl along Washington. And then you had the planned interparcel connection, which will still stay, but you're narrowing the entrance that was moving people on and off this site, right? To just an out only, exit only. So people that were going to come from the back of part of the rationale for the overall connectivity of I'm sorry, Joe, I'm taking over your thing.
No, that's fine.
Was people were supposed to move in and out of the parcels.
You're doing a better job. But I think it's critical to really look at this as a system, because anytime you disrupt the system, there are consequences.
Sure.
And I'm not really sure we understand what those consequences are, but I think you're hitting on something.
Sure.
So I do have some other questions. If Don wants to answer or respond to that, that's fine. But
I
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so for those of you that were here when we did the approval on where the Lidl is to go,
Right.
there was a lot of discussion about that interparcel connectivity. We wanted that interparcel as a landlord to be two-way. The town implicitly said we want that to be a one-way, and they in a subsequent submission to the approval process, that is a one-way exiting Chick-fil-A into the Lidl parking field. That is not approved to be a two-way because of the town. Go eastbound. That's because of the town's request, not ours.
We'll have to take a look at that. Can I just ask, relative to emergency response and what have you, have we reviewed it from that perspective? Have you guys reviewed this plan from an emergency response and fire safety perspective?
In our discussions, I would say no. I think it turns more to if you had discussions with the fire marshal.
Yeah, I mean, I think typically we're just looking for navigation into the site. Can they get in and out? And leaving that entrance at a minimum of 15 feet isn't going to prohibit that. So I think in terms of emergency vehicle access, in my professional opinion, there's still sufficient access. Usually that's just based on the widths, right? Because if you're in a drive aisle and there's an emergency, you're going to get out of the way. So long as no permanent feature is located in a manner that's going to restrict that.
Okay. I have to say, I like the transportation guys, but I still think there's going to be induced growth. I don't care what you say. My experience shows that I've been involved in a lot of transportation issues over 40 years, and you will induce growth. What that is, I don't know. But that's just a comment that I wanted to make. With respect to VNB, the bank, VHB, you said earlier that you had testimonials from the bank and Lifetime Smiles. I'd love to see that information.
Yeah, I do know Lifetime Smiles, before their approval, had even reviewed our documents. We gave them CAD files and PDF.
And
to
they
have-
understand what the consequences are from those
Correct.
to their site plan.
Correct.
Okay.
Actually, I can expand on that. So there's been a lot of time and effort spent on this application prior to even it being submitted. So Chick-fil-A actually went through and asked to make changes to their building. And that was permitted in 6 months ago? Or more. So there was a closure at Chick-fil-A. They made all their building improvements based upon this plan being approved. And having that mobile drive-through access. So you now see where they walk out into the drive aisle. The other thing was Lifetime Smiles was pre-engineered for this as well. So what was approved for them, if you remember, they had a planning strip where they ended up shifting over their access point. And they shifted it to the west because they knew and we knew that that was a potential path for this second lane. So they've already been in the know since the beginning as well. So it doesn't impact them whatsoever.
Right. And being out there physically on site, I know this is an elevation change. This might be a question for the civil engineer. How are you going to handle that? Especially it's at the north end, I believe, right? The elevation change is much greater.
Right there, like where Lifetime Smiles is,
In
right there.
that area, yeah.
How are you handling that?
Yes. Okay. So we have already actually started on a site plan for this before we kind of paused. There's been a submission of it. So there would be some mill and overlay extending a bit into that one way. Our construction wouldn't end at the delineator. We would smooth that grade a bit beyond that, utilizing mill and overlay and steepening up the drive-through lanes starting just beyond the order point. Because you're right, it's to the naked eye, maybe not steep, but if you're looking at, a cross slope of a travel lane, it is steep, so to speak.
So, I mean, you're going to have to do something so nobody goes off that. I mean, you're still going to, how many feet elevation change are you going to have after you're done constructing at that corner at the north end?
From the building or just from the drive-through lane?
Yeah, just from the
I
drive-through
don't,
lane.
I don't know for speaking of feet. I don't have, unfortunately, I only had the SUP with me and not the site plan. I know we were keeping grades to a max of a 5% cross slope, so nothing crazy. But there is a bit of curbing installed, proposed, even here beyond the delineators, right? One, to make sure that, you know, where that Lifetime Smiles is, they can make their turn and go out because they can't go south anymore. So they can back up and get out. And there is an area of curbing there to accommodate some steeper slopes that aren't traversable, because they are not to hop the curb and get out through Lifetime Smiles. They can't do that.
And that's what I would be worried about for their own safety or other people's safety.
No, yes, cannot. So it would be curbed through there. And there's also, this is very nitty gritty in the details, but there's some sanitary there as well. So the curbing would be located around a manhole. But yeah, we've gone a step further and engineered it in a way to make sure that what we're showing in the layout form is buildable.
Okay, all right, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And that you're thinking about it, and then you'll put some positive improvements in that area.
Sure.
If in fact it does get approved.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I worry about people falling off and what have you with their
Yeah.
vehicles. Because, you know, that behavior they talked about earlier, people being impatient and saying, well, I changed my mind. I'll just drive over the curb. Well, that's not going to be a fun curb to drive over.
No.
No, at all. Okay.
Yeah, and they can always put bollards, atop a curb as well. Bollards are still an option on a fully curbed island, especially in that area where there's, no reason for anybody to try to do anything differently. At Chick-fil-A, I definitely still, while we did the ones that were for bike lanes, we can't overemphasize the fact that having something in somebody's eyesight is crucial to making sure they know where they're actually supposed to go.
Okay, all right. So thank you for I'll take a look at those. But there was nobody here tonight from the bank? No. No. Okay, VNB, I'm sorry. And Lifetime Smiles. And you're saying through these memos, which I'll read later, that they're okay with the changes?
That's just for the Virginia National Bank. That's the senior executive at Virginia National. Lifetime Smiles was done with the.
Can you come?
Can you go up to the mic so they can pick up your voice?
Yeah, we can probably pull some of that because I know they have our information as their background.
What that memo is just that communique is just the Virginia National Bank execs. The Lifetime Smiles, that discussion was had with the ownership prior to them closing on the site. And then it was engineered with this approved second lane prior. So what you see was approved and actually was built is already prepared for this second lane.
So it's future-proof.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, got it. So I do have a few more.
Could I ask a quick question about this correspondence real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I noticed in the correspondence, you had sent an email to the person at the Virginia National Bank on May 31st. And then the next one was also from you on June 2nd. And it sounds like you may have met in person. Is that correct?
We had a video call.
A video call.
Uh-huh,
Okay. And
yeah.
where you discussed which options
That's correct.
they preferred?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And clarifying, sorry,
Mhm.
this was in 2023, May and June of 23.
That's correct. Yeah,
you
whatever
for
those
that
dates
Okay.
specify, but yes.
Just making sure.
Okay, my only other comment was, I think it makes a lot of sense to defer this so that there can be further communication and evaluation and analysis. But just my first look at it is, I was thinking about the parking being angled. And I think that makes some sense. I don't know what the impacts are. I mean, I know Marshawn had some concerns about the single lane and some of the conflicts and what have you. That's still a concern for the bank customer, I would think. So that's something that right now I'm kind of hesitant on. I'm somewhat skeptical. So I just wanted to share that. But I mean, it's an effort at trying to make those improvements to make it easier. Those turns out of a straight, perpendicular parking, how many point turn is that? Some people it might be 4. Some people like me might be 6, depending on the size of the vehicle too, right? So that's a real issue right here on the safety and the flow and emergency response and what have you, for me anyway. So.
Well, I think the fact that we'd spent some time with the traffic engineers, the tenants, to both what you're saying and what Mershant's been saying is, I think everybody's in agreement that to start moving that traffic through the Virginia National Bank in a one-way fashion, Lifetime Smiles in a one-way fashion, and then getting all that traffic to exit. I think there's an increased, better circulation that's being created through that. And I think everybody that on our side has agreed with that idea. So that's kind of where we've been going with it. We think two-way traffic is more of a creation of traffic issues there. You're creating a lot of conflicts with two-way.
Yeah, well, I'll be curious to see what this looks like after you've worked through some of the other issues. But at this point, I'm somewhat still skeptical about the consequences of this on the internal circulation and the entire flow in the area. We know we have a challenge. We have a big challenge at the west end of town.
Yeah.
And we knew this was going to come when these approvals were made, particularly for the project at Crossroads Village. So we have to rationalize that somehow and get better circulation. So if you guys want to start doing that internal wayfinding signage, that's a big help. And I think doing that now makes a lot of sense. You know what your plans are in the future, right? We don't know all of your plans, but that would be very helpful. So that's my comment.
I think just like we did with Crossroads Village, I think that our goal is to work together, right? And come up with a solution that works. So I think you've heard us pretty loud and clear is we're very flexible. And the fact that I have control and ownership, and I want to work with obviously the tenants to make all the boats rise together. That's the goal here, right? So we want everybody's opportunities to rise. So we're totally fine with that. One question, I haven't been following it, is after today, are we having a whole new council change?
Well, we have it.
Okay.
Don't smile too much.
They swap seats. Swap seats.
I get her vote now.
Okay, all right. So that's it, just the one, okay. All right, well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I didn't mean it in that way at all. You know I work with you at Loudoun County.
All right, I think you mentioned this during the planning commission meeting. We are appreciative of Chick-fil-A. We like having Chick-fil-A in town, right? Many of our staff here on the dais who are customers, right? And there's nothing wrong with wanting to cater to your customers' needs, right? Adapt and so forth, right? There's nothing wrong. Gaining efficiency, I'm up for that. As a business owner, if I was a business owner, of course I would want to do the same thing, right? But the challenge here is with that site, there are many challenges. I mean, there are issues that the staff identified. There are many things that were shared, right, here by the other fellow council members. And again, there are challenges with what's being proposed. I know you're trying to make it work. I know you're trying to address our challenges, right? But at the end of the day, this is my opinion, there are challenges, right? Traffic flow, safety. But in terms of this change not resulting in additional trips per day, I'm not on board with that. And the reason I say this is the mobile order lane, right? You're trying to gain efficiency there, or create efficiency whereby people can go on your app, order. The expectation is they quickly come and pick up their order and they're on their way out, right? We see this, I know, I observe it at Starbucks, at Panera Bread. A lot of their customers are leveraging that capability, the mobile order. As a result, right, again, this is my opinion, it will generate more traffic. more open to coming to, sometimes, my wife even mentioned it earlier during the break. If we see a long line at Chick-fil-A, we're more likely gonna, not stop by, right? Because we don't want to stand in line. But if you allow the ability of customers to quickly come in and pick up your orders, guess what? It's going to be, I'm going to be one of those people. I'm going to be more open to coming and visiting Chick-fil-A because the expectation is I'm going to be in and out. So again, as a result, again, I'm not on board when you say it's not going to generate traffic. If it wasn't for the fact that you're not potentially going to dedicate one of the drive lanes to mobile order, maybe I can maybe understand the argument there, but not when you're specifically dedicating one of the lanes to mobile order pickup only. Can I finish? And again, I'm looking at information even on your website. It says specifically here, it says restaurants are prioritized for renovation based on capacity and age. Capacity upgrades in restaurants may include expanding kitchens and adding additional lanes. And again, yes, you're right. You're probably creating more efficiency, being able to serve your customers as quickly as possible. But at the same time, you are increasing the capacity or adding the capacity that allows you for more throughput, more traffic. And we do, again, I'm only speaking to for myself, right? There are traffic related challenges as is, not to mention what is planned for that site. So looking at it in totality and also what currently exists, it is going to be challenging if we allow something that's going to generate more traffic or more trips per day. It is not going to be initially. Can you give us some sort of a
There is no timeline. They call it dual flex. So like I said, it provides them the infrastructure to give these operators the flexibility to decide based off their, avenue, whatever business avenue is providing them.
Are you willing to take that option out of, off the table in terms
Mobile
of
through?
mobile through?
I don't believe so.
Hey, happy to address that. So the improvement that we're proposing, we call it dual flex lane so that it's flexible, so that during a peak hour, it can be used for delivery. For a non-peak hour, it can be used for bypassing. As service channels fluctuate between dine-in, curbside, drive-through, third party, we can alter the operation so that it's mobile through only versus traditional drive-through. We totally expect that over time, customers will continue to use this to place orders and pay for orders off-site. So over time, we expect that preference to grow, and this would allow us to convert that to a mobile through lane. For now, the intention is to simply use it as a flexible option so that during a peak hour, you can use both lanes for delivery. During a non-peak hour, you can use only lane 1 for delivery and use lane 2 for bypassing so that person who just wants their lemonade through the drive-through, they can go ahead and get around the car at the window. I want to clarify that we are here voluntarily. Like, we've not been asked to come and solve a problem, and we've not been issued any violations for traffic or citations that render us non-compliant with a permit that's already existing for a use that's already existing. We are simply trying to get ahead of whatever we can to be proactive in reinvesting in the restaurant. Frankly stated, if y'all don't approve this tonight, we will take the capital that we're going to spend here and we will push it to another restaurant and we will do the same improvement somewhere else. So it won't be corporate that will suffer as a result of this. It will be Jason and his local team who will suffer if you do not approve this tonight. That is at your discretion, and we understand that. But that's the fact of it. We will just take the capital and deploy it to another restaurant that is not Jason's restaurant. And so we are doing that with 4 restaurants in Prince William County now. We are actively in the process of getting this same improvement installed at other locations in Prince William County. We are in the middle of trying to build a new restaurant here, 2 miles down the street. So that restaurant will have 2 lanes of drive-through all the way around the building, if approved and permitted. So those customers who will go to that restaurant 2 miles away, they will get a different experience at this restaurant if this is not approved. I want to say that Don and his team have been incredibly collaborative. I wish that all of our landlords were as easy to work with as Don. He has been nothing but gracious and flexible with Chick-fil-A in helping us try to be part of the solution. We do not want to be part of the problem. We want to be a great neighbor, and we want to be part of the solution. So tonight, we have put in front of you 3 different concepts that we are willing to implement. You tell us which one you want, and we will do our best to continue collaborating to get that implemented. We want to be part of the solution. We do not want to be part of the problem. And frankly, we have hired professional engineers who went to school, took lots of tests to be able to stamp and seal a drawing, who have errors and omissions insurance that they pay for and that their companies pay for, to be able to say, this is a safe and valid and legitimate solution. We would never stand before you without engaging professional engineers and architects to present a solution that would compromise the safety of any customer or team member. That is just too important to us. Truett Cathy is the founder of our company, and his life verse was Proverbs 22:1. He said, a great name is to be regarded better than riches or gold. We care about our name and we care about our reputation. We are not here to build this improvement to make more money. We are here to continue to build a brand that people trust and love. It only takes one operator. It only takes one thing to erode that trust. And we are doing everything we can nationwide to protect that trust. I promise you, we are not coming here. There was absolutely zero financial modeling to determine if this was a good idea. We are doing this simply because Jason asked for it. And we're just trying to give him that so that he and his team can operate their restaurant to a standard that our customers expect from the #1 QSR brand in the nation. We're simply trying to protect the brand and to build trust with the customers that he has helped us build. So thank y'all for your time.
Thank you.
You still more?
And again, to repeat myself, and again, it's not, if there were no challenges with that whole development, that area, traffic and so forth, as well as some aspects of the design and so forth, again, I would love, and again, I'm speaking for myself, I would love to support Chick-fil-A in any way, shape or form, right? But one of my duties is, again, this is my opinion, is to mitigate potential challenges, issues, and so forth, right? And that's what I'm here to do. So, thank you.
Can I just add one thing about kind of the traffic generation? I think it's important to consider the mobile phone is here, and as we're seeing it, what we're doing is trying to increase the efficiency of what's happening now, but also building for that in the future, to where inherently there's already 2 lanes here. We're simply extending the second lane further down to the delivery portion. That inherently won't drive more traffic to it, but the efficiency they would see and the popularity of mobile ordering, I think Chick-fil-A would project it, but it's, who knows what could happen, knock on wood, no pandemics or anything that changes things, but how do we get ahead of that now and build that efficiency into this site? And I think another key part to consider with this is, I think we heard from some people who go out there now, and when you come up and maybe you did place that mobile order and you see that line is long, people park and then go in and get their order now. And now what we are doing is taking that pedestrian car interaction that is uncontrolled, more or less, within a parking lot, like we've heard at any other retail location, and we're putting it in the lane to where it's now safely happening. Those people are not getting out of their cars. They're doing that more efficiently there. So I think that's another key safety point, is there are people now who do mobile orders and will continue to do mobile orders, and if it's more efficient, more people will do it. How do we make that more safely happen? And we feel, based on the prototypes that are coming out now for Chick-fil-A with this new environment we're in, that we want them in the lane so we can serve them there. So it's less people getting in and out of their cars uncontrolled. So that's part of the proposal here, is not only addressing the existing issues, but planning for that future condition there. How can we best do that? I think we mentioned that it's, at the operator's recommendation. This isn't being forced upon him. He sees something to make his site better, and we're helping him realize that.
Quick follow-up question as well.
Sure.
I know we've hammered traffic impact a lot so far. I wanted to alter the question a little bit. And this was brought up in Planning Commission initially, it was more about orders, those kinds of things. And I don't know if it's publicly available. I'm curious what trends there are from, say, 2020 when COVID hit to now, if there are trends or data that you're able to share with us about the increase in mobile orders, like if there's a graph that can be provided to the council in the next meeting, that kind of thing. Or on top of that, if there's also a potential projection of future orders that are accounted for per site. Because obviously if there's no increase in GFA, no increase in the kitchen size, that means traffic impact, like you said, it's gonna be net zero. I'm just curious about the orders itself though versus TIA.
Yeah, I think we can talk about that.
I mean, something relevant, maybe related that I can share is, again, this is from your website. It says with 85% of customers who use mobile through reporting that they were likely to use the service again, right? Again, there's no, it's popular, right? There is no argument about whether or not mobile ordering is popular. That is the trend, yes. I agree with you, right?
Yeah.
It's more popular. And again, the expectation is you do your order in advance, you go in and out, right? There is no waiting. It's more efficient, yes.
I guess where I'm going with this too is I was really interested during the public hearing, hearing the trend about the increase in foot traffic in the building itself versus drive-through because of existing conditions. So I was just curious if that can be provided to us versus just said as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we are a privately held company, so we don't share proprietary information or sales data. So we just don't. So if that's what it's all about, then we're not going to share that and make that a public record. I will say this about the mobile through. The mobile through is that is a service model that Chick-fil-A supports to an operator who has decided to opt in to that feature or to that service channel. So they have to be invited into that service channel based on data and analytics that we look at the corporate office. We say, hey, you have this amount of % in sales that are going through a mobile app, whether they're picking it up on site or whether they're sending someone to pick it up for them. Your percentage of sales looks like you would be a good candidate for mobile through, which is the service model. We invite them to participate in that. If they want to, it's at their discretion, and then they decide to opt into it. So after we do this improvement, Jason would have to meet certain thresholds in order to be able to opt into mobile through. So if he's not already doing that, and I'm sorry if I don't know that right off the top of my head, but that's how the mobile through works. Is the corporate office looks at data and analytics and then invites an operator into that initiative. And then they can also opt out. If they do it for a while and decide they don't like it, they can opt out of it. So.
Which one?
He's first.
Okay, Matt.
So it's, hopefully this is a quick question. Mr. Baker, you may want to get up again. I heard before, I'm going to kind of reference to our town attorney, we did talk about deferring this decision until the next meeting. And we said that as long as that was waived, that we were okay with that. However, Mr. Baker, you made a statement before that said if we don't approve this tonight, you are going to be pulling the funding from corporate and putting it into another store. So is the intent for you to defer or to not defer this decision? That's kind of, because I think it's important for us to know that if we're having this conversation, we're doing all this legwork, we're having the meetings, as are you, or is this a moot point? If we have to make a decision tonight.
No, I certainly didn't mean to give an ultimatum. No, I don't mean tonight. I mean, ultimately, if you don't approve it, what will happen is that capital will be redeployed to a different restaurant. I mean, we've been working with Dawn, like you mentioned it in the emails, since probably late 2022 to try to get this approved. That included conversations with the bank and others, the dentist office. Yeah, we're flexible. We're flexible. We want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And we would like to continue the conversation if y'all would like to continue the conversation. Tonight was not, I didn't even realize I said that. Sorry.
I wanted to, we are on public record. I wanted to make sure we had
Yes,
that
thank you
clarification.
for clarifying that. Yeah, no ultimatums for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of follow-ups. So quickly, we talk about the expansion. How many other sites that have implemented this change have had to expand their lease line or expand their acreage in order to accommodate it?
The lease line or the acreage. We've had quite a few where the lease line has had to be updated in order to make that full, because oftentimes you'll see just like this, that drive-through lane abuts. It's just most efficient with that current type of layout.
So it's in a multi-tenant shopping center that's had to impact its surrounds, other parking lots, other uses?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I do want to sort of take exception that was made earlier about affecting Jason. This is a land use decision. I appreciate the passion that you put into it, but to suggest that we are somehow, if we don't approve this, we're hurting someone, I take exception to that. This is a land use question. If the council can come to and I'm saying part of this because I'm not going to be here when this comes back to the council, but our job, health, safety, and welfare, can we assure the town that we don't make an existing condition worse? Right now, closing or limiting access on that northern entrance, impacting the traffic circulation of two tenants, and respectfully, I appreciate that they're not, if I'm a tenant, my landlord's asking me to do something, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to agree or disagree or fight that, but we have to look at, are we making an existing situation worse? The traffic impact analysis may have given some light to that. I know, Mr. Wooten, you have other uses that you're planning at the backside of the property. So we don't want to create a worse situation than this today. I don't feel we have enough information to say to our residents and our other businesses that, yes, this won't make it worse. And so I just wanted to follow with that. I appreciate the passion that Chick-fil-A puts into it. I appreciate it as an operator, but this really is a land use question. And hopefully we can come to some sort of equitable solution. But I think the staff did a good job of the analysis. I appreciate the work that the commission has done. I think they're all fair points to make. And what we have to, at the end of the day, we have to say, this is just too much. This is just too much for a limited site. And if we do get to that conclusion, I hope it would not be taken as personally, where Jason's going to give me a hard time when I come through the drive-thru. But so anyway, those are my concluding thoughts. At this point, unless there's a significant movement on traffic circulation or trying to mitigate that, I don't know that I would continue to support the project. But I look forward to the discussions. And if I'm not here, I'll at least listen in and come share my opinion.
Understood. And I do think Jason and Chick-fil-A would be willing to keep that northern entrance the way it is if that's the preference. I think that I don't think that there had been discussion previously that was something that was not desired. So kind of new news. And like we said, Chick-fil-A is more than willing to work. And I think Jason would much prefer to have the second lane if that is, alleviates some concerns for safety and circulation as opposed to just narrowing that exit. So again, like we said, no decision tonight. So something to take, but knowing the preference is helpful to altering the application.
I think to Don's point earlier, that was a township requirement in the master plan that be changed to an exit only. And so
I think he was,
misunderstand that, Don?
he's referring to the southern, close to the two-way entry exit. That one was leading into Lidl. That was requested to be an exit only from the parcel.
Sorry.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then yeah, I think we're flexible on that part of it. So as far as the land use situation, we're here to help Jason and his restaurant. I'm sorry that you took exception to my comment. I didn't mean for that to be offensive in any way. I'll apologize publicly for that if that's needed. I genuinely don't want to offend anybody. But the fact of the matter is, if we're trying to help Jason, he asked for this project. We did not push this to him. He came to us and asked for it. And we said, well, based on what we're seeing and what we're doing everywhere else, this makes sense. Let's see if we can get it done. We can't help him without your help. That is the fact of the matter. And so it is truly him and his business that you're helping if you decide to approve this. It is directly impacting his business, not Chick-fil-A corporate. That's my only point about that. So we're here to help him. And to the extent we can, we will, but we cannot do it without your help. So thank you.
Yeah, just to add, I do think like those additional exhibits we made stemmed from conversations with the Planning Commission. I know after the last Planning Commission, Thomas so kindly kind of gathered everybody's thoughts, concerns, or even ideas to improve the application. And I know that's something like taking another stab at it and updating it for an iteration that, you know, everybody may see as an improvement is something like we're more than willing together to put together another exhibit to see what may work and or, you know, what wayfinding signage. I know you guys have spoken on a few times, like what additional signage would be helpful, because the exhibit we made, I think, directly stemmed from conversations with Thomas and Emily, kind of getting their opinion, people traveling this every day, people that see these applications.
Okay.
So any other comments? So just to clarify it then, we do have agreement of deferring this to the next meeting, and discussions in between can be directed by staff.
As long as they agree.
I don't think they do.
So I got thumbs up from you?
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. Okay, we'll leave it at that. And I hope a situation can be worked out here. Like Marshawn said, this is a land issue. I mean, I fully support Chick-fil-A. My two sons have worked for you and worked under Jason. So I hope we can come up to an amenable agreement. But like Joe said, this is a system of the whole complex. So it's a matter of how your business model fits on this concept to expand. And we just got to make sure that we future-proof this so that we're not creating problems. And we're going to do our best due diligence and vetting of this to try and get it done. On that note, I guess we'll close this up by tabling it till next meeting.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
When is the next meeting? Have you-
January 6th.
January 6th.
January 6th.
I'll be in Hobbit land. Maybe you can defer it. To a date certain.
the agenda item one.
Date uncertain.
Okay. Now we get to our next big discussion, right? The strategic plan. This is a dry conversation though, right? The strategic plan.
Yeah, I was gonna say the bride.
Okay, let's get some order here. Let's move forward because it's already 10:30.
Just a little relief.
Okay, who's our spearhead for the strategic plan?
I think last we made some verbiage changes, correct?
We did make some verbiage changes.
Is Roberto still with us or-
Roberto, are you still on? What are you looking at getting from us for this?
The narrative.
Do you have a question, Alexander?
Observation.
Observation?
Okay. So Roberta, one of the updates that we wanted to make is to one of the goals. So if we look at page 80, the first goal, improve transportation and infrastructure to enrich quality of life and maintain small town feel. That was updated, but if you go back to page 79, the same was not updated on page 79. Do you see it? Okay.
Yeah. So
you want it on
we're gonna
the
go with this
first
I
one.
guess.
Yeah, this is the updated one, right? So if you take a look at this.
This
that's not
is our
much.
red line.
Packet 79, I guess.
Oh, I see your point. Okay.
This
The
one is
front
our red
point.
line.
Okay.
Yeah, almost there. There we go.
You don't have it in front of you, you said, Roberto?
Just gonna pull it up on the computer.
Oh, that's it. Oh,
The first goal. So change
No, that's
that.
The header is what?
Yeah.
The updated
So-
version, yes.
That was like more on the table of contents that hasn't been updated. I don't
All
know.
right, so we're saying improve is the right word, right?
Improve instead of develop.
All right. so
The
that's
correct
easy.
one is on page 80.
Yeah,
So
okay.
front needs
So
to
we
be
just
changed
making a,
in alignment with.
make a change to that.
And another thing is, I believe one of the updates was to 1.4, where we said we want to change it to read VDOT to improve traffic flow and safety, right? So we missed the flow part.
Right.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Thank you.
Yeah, good.
My eyes are getting too old to be that eagle. You got eagle eyes.
You need a magnifier?
Yeah, pretty soon I will. Any other comments? I'd like to address the citizens' comments. And I feel they were all very beneficial and good comments to make, but I think they're more towards the detail part of this and not the overarching. I think everything that they're requesting does fall within to our overarching. So I hear you. I just feel this is something that you got to peg our staff for as they start to execute the directions we go with these plans.
Again, their inputs,
Yeah,
right. And they should be memorialized and used in the decision-making and evaluation. That's-
It's 11%.
Agreed.
so I guess, are we willing to adopt this or
Or do you want to see those changes implemented?
Well, we can
beforehand?
adopt it.
Yeah, we can
adopt it
adopt
with
it.
the comments?
With
With those
yeah,
changes.
Sure.
I'm open to doing so.
Okay, so I need a motion then.
You want to make a motion? Want to practice?
Yeah, I'll practice. Mayor, I motion that we adopt, thank you, the strategic planning for council.
I second.
Okay, I got a motion and second up for discussions. I think we need
Do
to.
we need to identify the changes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was
I
gonna
was gonna
say,
say
yes.
friendly
Thank you.
amendment.
Exactly. where I
Friendly
was going.
amendment with making the changes on the front to read, improve transportation infrastructure to enrich quality of life and maintain small town feel. And in section 1.4, add traffic flow and safety.
Very good.
Second.
Okay, so I got a friendly second to that friendly emotion.
Amendment.
Okay, any questions before we move on? Roll call vote, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
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 Okay. Not as dry a conversation as I expected. Thank you, guys. Okay, Now as I flail through
Yeah, I
here
was
to
gonna say.
find my cover sheet. Just to move on, what's the next item on the list? Planning Commission resignation. Yeah, because of our change up with council and everything. Take it from here. Kim?
In your packet, you will see the resignation of Justin Baker, who was serving on the Planning Commission. He put in his resignation effective immediately. I have reached out to a couple people that have expressed some interest. I expect some applications to come in for you to look at in your January session.
So has this been public?
It has not been
publicized
put out
yet?
publicly, but we will put it out on the website and
Okay.
on Facebook.
Joe?
So with this resignation and him coming to the council, not only do we lose him at the planning commission, but we also lose him for the BZA.
We lose him in 3 different categories. We lose him as a planning commission member. We also lose him as the liaison, planning commission liaison to the architectural review board.
Right.
We also lose him as a BZA member.
Okay. So can we check with any of the existing planning commission members who might be willing to represent for at least the BZA?
I
If
will,
not the
I will
ARB?
address that next week
Okay,
at their meeting.
all right, great.
And the liaison, right?
Yeah, well, that's a bigger lift, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Okay, so if I no objection, move forward with public notice and,
Yes, sir.
okay. I see no objections, so good. Moving on, December work session. I think we got a lot of people who are questionable on whether they're going to be here or not. What looks like the agenda for the work session? Is it something we might be able to cancel?
The only thing I currently have is if you want to continue the discussion on your SUP permit that you have deferred. That's the only standing agenda item.
I don't think you'll have anything back by then, though, would you?
And that only gives the applicant 2 weeks.
I
To
thought
come-
I thought we told them December 6th.
Well, that was.
January
January
6th would be
January
the regular
6th.
meeting, which is
January
what you
6th,
would
yeah,
vote
sorry.
on.
Okay.
That doesn't really give you a lot of time, does it, Thomas?
We're talking the 16th as proposed work session date. That's a very quick turnover, because essentially if we want to keep to the rules, we need the agenda out by Monday, the 9th. So turnover of all these new exhibits with proposed alterations within the next week. I think it's undue stress on staff and the applicant.
Okay.
I do feel we need a communications channel. As long as you're promoting to us, we should be good. There's no backdoor conversations going on. A question for legal, right? By just getting promoted information from staff, as long as we don't comment on it
No, that's fine.
as a group.
Yeah, please don't comment as a group. We don't want any meetings or alleged meetings online. So as a comment, and they send you a group text or a group email, just don't respond as a group. It could be a problem.
Does it make sense moving our work session to January 6th, an hour prior to our regular meeting?
That makes sense.
Well, at least we could come up with a decision, but you would have to ask the new mayor because, to me, this hits on what I would consider my transparency platform, not giving citizens a chance to react to what our decisions are. So I'll leave that to the new mayor on if she wants to kind of backpedal and say, well, this is an exception or what have you, if she wants to have that meeting on
Is
the
everybody
same
open
day.
to a work session on that day?
I am.
On the
The
6th, and do you feel that that would give you ample time to marinate on what you need from the results? I know, right?
Marinate.
Got a little bit of chicken.
Marinate.
So it'd be like a 6 PM work session?
It'd be a 6 PM work session, 6 to 7, and then a vote at the 7 o'clock meeting.
That's good to me.
No objections.
No objections, as long as they continue with their peppermint chocolate milkshakes.
I'm just on autopilot.
I'll be here at 6 o'clock with one in hand.
So 6 PM work session to discuss the SUP and then go into a 7 PM regular meeting.
Second.
I'll notify the applicant of that procedure as well.
That's fair.
Okay, on that note, if there are no objections, I will direct the clerk to cancel the 16th.
Cheers all around. No.
So directed. Okay, we're on council member time now. First one up, Marchand.
How can I drop the mic if I'm first? So drop the mic, I'm out. So, okay, indulge me even though it's 10:45. So you saw my oldest daughter in here tonight. When I first moved to Haymarket, I did not know the ties that I had to Haymarket. 1988, I got lost out here as a kid who just first got his license. I called my dad from the Gossams payphone outside here saying I thought I was in West Virginia. Dad in a place called Haymarket. So, no, what are you doing that far out? So we're not gonna talk about that right now. But when I became the zone administrator for Middleburg, I found out later on that my great grandmother had worked at Foxcroft School. Matter of fact, we had some of their library books when I settled my mom's estate to a really late fee. These were like late 1800s, early 1900s. And then going through my mom's estate, apparently she worked with Winterham, had a designer showcase, which was a fundraiser for the Prince William Symphony Orchestra. So I found a program and some news articles that had recreated the history that had been lost during the fire. So unbeknownst to me, I had these connections to Haymarket over the years. And so first meeting I showed up to at that lectern was with Naomi and a baby Bjorn. I think she was 14 months old. And we're talking about the Jerry Kennedy's town center project. He was going to redesign the whole town center project. So fast forward, and I want to say this to you guys, you have all the tools to do all the things. Okay. In the 20 years I've been doing this with the town, you have the resources, the staff, the tools, more so than you ever had in the town's history. Balance that out with the largest increase of population you've had, largest increase of businesses, increasing traffic. And so you're prepared to make the town move forward, I think in a positive way. I've pressed the council about sort of our conservative posturing on finances, and I saw the practicality of doing that. But we're going to have to make some key decisions, some hard decisions, and some decisions we may not feel comfortable with, but may need the best decision of the town. These capital projects are going to be key. We really need to take that money that we have put aside and really make some meaningful investments in these projects to be able to move forward and stay ahead. We always seem to be catching up, moving behind. I see the Century Stair property as sort of your next challenge. I see a lot of the redevelopment along Main Street. The positive of us being successful is people want to be here. And so we're going to have to keep pace. And as I said, I think we have the tools and we're set up for success. So all I could say is practice good governance, learn the tenets of good governance, improve your government IQ, get trained on land use, get trained on government finance, ask questions, talk to your liaisons, talk to the staff, talk to the treasurer, try to, and when you guys go to the ICMA or the VML conferences, talk to other small leaders. I do think the finance report that we had earlier this summer is a good tool to base our budget discussion or the start of our budget discussion. But I do feel like we need to move on some of these other investments before we look at tinkering with the tax rate. Other than that, good luck. Thank you for throwing your hat in the ring and seeing it out another 2 years. It's going to be an interesting time. It's going to be a challenging time. Thank you to the staff. I know I have a quirky personality and I appreciate the drop-ins and dealing with my my quirkiness. Appreciate the council. It's been an interesting ride the last 4 years. And the police, I appreciate the police department. One of the things I've always said is that, the fact that my child knows the faces, if not names, of all the police department, they know where to go if there's an emergency. That is perhaps of all the benefits of living in a small town is one of the key things to have. So thank you for all the staff and council and police that make the town that it is. So I will see you around. I'll be there for the Christmas event, help set up tents, and
Be a squeaky wheel.
be a squeaky wheel. So thanks, everybody. Oh, thank you, my family, and Jean, who did not come here tonight. So
Yeah, get comfortable up there on that podium, okay?
Okay.
Next on the list, Councilwoman Ramirez.
Thank you. So we'll miss you, but looking forward to hearing from you still. Coming up tomorrow is Boxes of Basics Shoes Day. They have a Facebook post out asking for donations of shoes. So they have an Amazon list. They're also accepting donations financially. And as you know, our police chief has accommodated their drop-off station in our police department. So feel free to support. On Wednesday, we have an Eagle Scout, what's the term? The correct word?
Our project, sorry.
Right.
So
So is she like what's the candidate?
Yes, she's an
Eagle Scout candidate. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Whose project is being celebrated by the Haymarket Baptist Church at 4 p.m. It's a food pantry kind of extension there, and it's been open since the early summer. And so they're going to have a celebration. So if you're available, please join. It's pretty awesome to see our in-town residents, helping their community and committing in that way. I saw December 7th, we have Santa coming to town from Haymarket PD. So have the kids ready to come out. I believe it's at 5 p.m. Starts at 5. So, and then he put out a map for you guys to know where Santa's going to stop. Then we have our Christmas event for the town on the 14th here on Town Hall property. So looking forward to the Candy Cane Lane this year. It's going to be a lot of fun and all the fun things that come with it. My entire family will be here, so look out for the clan. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and a healthy and safe New Year. And I'll see you in January.
Just wanted to, first of all, Councilman Schneider, thank you very much for everything you've done for the town. I know, I think we're all going to say thank you, but I know you're not going away. I'm sure we're going to see you around at multiple things. So, and I just heard there's a planning commission spot open in case you'd be interested.
Gene says just say no.
And a BZA spot,
Yeah, that's right.
BZA's, that's one you could do. No, but seriously, thank you very much for your service. I know, I think we all know how much you've put into this. For me, just personally, you mentioned all the events that I kind of had in my head, so I'm not going to repeat that at this hour. I do want to just thank, first of all, I really want to thank everybody that came out. I know most people have left, but everybody that came out today to speak on behalf of Chick-fil-A. I have to say that it was heartwarming to see one of our local businesses have that much support come out and talk for them. And they talked very passionately about their feelings and about what why they wanted to see this. So I really do appreciate that. And we'll hope to see a lot more of that in 2025. Other than that, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year. And look forward to seeing everybody at the upcoming events and in 2025.
Thank you. Councilman Biene.
Yes, very exciting. Yeah, no. To be sworn in, to be able to serve, give back to my town. Very excited. Looking forward to working with our new mayor and my fellow council members, as well as the staff. So, thank you. That's all.
Wow.
Okay, good.
I'm shocked.
Councilman Passanella.
That's because she's here.
You bring out the introvert. Yes. Okay, so again, congratulations to all elected leaders here, and Justin, who's not with us, and good luck to Marchant. We've had some disagreements, but they've been in the interests of the town, and I'm glad we can move forward, and we're going to continue to move forward. I want to make a couple of announcements, but first I want to thank staff, getting Jacqueline Smith here, our county clerk, to swear us in. Thank you, Chief, for holding the Bible for me. I appreciate that, buddy. Extra cookies for you. Yeah. But you know what I was really impressed with? I mean, the turnout was great. And there was an issue that was important to everybody. But there are two people here, our state senator and delegate, State Senator Rome and Delegate Josh Thomas. And I'm very impressed by them because they are the two people that I think we see more of in my last 5 terms on council. This will be my 5th term, attending our meetings on a regular basis. And I'm really impressed by that. We have their ear and, you know, they're very responsive to our needs. So I want to thank them for showing up tonight and supporting us and supporting the new elected folks. An announcement, the Gainesville District Supervisor, our former council member, is hosting an open house. Yes, Friday, Friday the 13th, I kid you not.
Of course he is.
I kid you not.
Appropriate.
Very appropriate, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Suite 150 at 13575 Heathcote Boulevard. So almost on the other side of Heritage Hunt. Very interesting, Serve Our Willing Warriors. They put out an email recently, and I'm really happy to see that Dave and Susan Bannon, your next door neighbor, I believe, were volunteers of the month. Did you see that? Yeah. And just a shout out to Dave and Susan. They're great people and they put their money where their mouth is. So thank you for your service. Of course, December 7th is also an important date. Not only is it my mother-in-law's birthday, but it's also our former generation's 9/11, if we all remember. So think about that on December 7th for those who served and gave their ultimate sacrifice. I think we should never forget that. And finally, just want to say happy holidays to everybody. Have a good time. I won't see you in January, though.
You'll be having.
I'll be having a good time.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor Pater.
So thank you very much. I am beyond proud of all the accomplishments from the farmers market and Haymarket Day. Thank you very much. I cannot say thank you to staff enough and to the council for volunteering and participating. Want to say happy holidays to all. I am very excited about the Toys for Tots donations and the Boxes of Basics, so please continue with that. And I look forward to an amazing 2025 and hope to see you at the Holiday Bazaar on the 14th.
Thank you. Now it's my turn. This is my last public meeting, so I would like to thank staff for grinning and bearing my idiosyncrasies and my leadership quirks. I'm glad you could support me in my time of stress and whatever. Thank council for grinning and bearing it as well. Tracy Lynn, I welcome you and congratulate you as the future mayor. Hopefully I can serve under you well as a council member. Wanted to recognize that the last mayor's walk for me will be not this coming Saturday, but the following Saturday, always the second Saturday of the month. The 14th. So yeah, probably dress warm. I'll be out there at 9 o'clock in front of town hall, waiting for any participants if they want to celebrate me leaving or or congratulate me on moving to the council position. Happy holidays. Other than that, thank you for late night tonight.
Motion adjourn?
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?